A wife is left to die. A mafia boss finds her, and the hidden war begins. Tonight you'll witness how a woman beaten to death in a rainy alley becomes the most dangerous weapon in a war between billionaires and crime lords. This is Celine Vale's story, where survival means choosing between monsters. If you stay until the end, you'll discover the shocking truth about what really destroyed the karate syndicate. Hit that like button and comment your city below so I can see how far this story travels. Now let's begin where everything ends, in blood, rain, and broken ribs. The rain comes down like punishment. Celine Vale doesn't know how long she's been lying in the alley. Minutes, maybe. Hours. Time bleeds together with the water pooling around her face, mixing with blood from her split lip, her broken nose, the place where her ribs punctured through skin she can't see but feels with every shallow breath. Her husband left her here. The thought keeps circling back, sharper than the pain radiating through her chest. Damien didn't drag her here in a fit of rage. He didn't scream, didn't lose control. He drove her to this exact alley in Raventon City's industrial district, parked the Mercedes 2 blocks away, walked her through the dark with one hand gripping her elbow like they were heading to dinner. Then he beat her methodically, professionally, like he'd done it before. She tries to inhale and taste copper. Her vision swims. Above her, a neon sign flickers, some dive bar advertising cheap whiskey, and the light strobes red, white across the wet pavement. Celine's fingers twitch. She wants to crawl, wants to drag herself toward the street, toward the distant sound of traffic. But her body won't cooperate. One leg lies twisted beneath her at an angle that makes her stomach turn when she glances down. Damien's last words loop in her head. You became inconvenient. Not I'm sorry, not I loved you once. Just that cold business casual tone he used in boardroom meetings when firing executives who missed quarterly targets. She coughs. Blood spatters across the concrete. Footsteps echo through the rain. For one terrible second, Celine thinks Damien came back to finish what he started. Panic floods her system. She tries to move, tries to roll onto her stomach, but agony explodes through her ribs and she gasps, choking on rain and blood. The footsteps stop. A man's voice cuts through the storm. Jesus Christ! Not Damien, different voice, deeper, rougher around the edges. Celine forces her eyes open. Rain blurs everything, but she makes out a silhouette standing over her, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a charcoal overcoat that hangs heavy with water. His face stays hidden in shadow. Please, she whispers. The word comes out broken. Help. The man kneels beside her. Up close, she sees his face clearly despite the rain. Sharp features carved from violence and restraint. Dark hair slicked back. Eyes that assess her injuries with the kind of practiced efficiency that makes her skin crawl. He doesn't look like a good Samaritan. Who did this? His voice carries no warmth, just flat curiosity. Celine's throat works, but nothing comes out. Her vision tunnels. The man's face blurs, sharpens, blurs again. He mutters something under his breath, then shrugs out of his overcoat and wraps it around her broken body. The fabric smells like expensive cologne and gunpowder. You don't die on my streets, he says. Those words cut through the fog. My streets. Like he owns them. Like Raventon City's industrial district belongs to him the way Damien's tech empire belonged to him. Celine tries to speak, to ask who he is, but darkness swallows her whole before the question forms. She wakes to silence, not the comfortable kind, the suffocating kind that presses against her eardrums and makes her wonder if she's dead. Celine's eyes snap open. Cream-colored ceiling, crown molding, soft morning light filtering through gauze curtains. She's lying in a bed so large it could fit 4 people comfortably, covered in sheets with a thread count she can feel against her skin. Her ribs don't hurt. That thought arrives first, followed immediately by confusion. She remembers the pain, blinding, all-consuming pain that made breathing feel impossible. Now there's just a dull ache when she shifts positions. Celine sits up slowly. Someone dressed her in clean clothes, soft cotton pants and a loose white shirt. Bandages wrap her torso beneath the fabric. Her left leg is splinted and elevated on pillows. The room around her looks like it belongs in an architectural magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the Atlantic Ocean, waves crashing against dark cliffs maybe 50 feet below. Marble floors. Minimalist furniture, a single door on the far wall closed. She tries to stand. Her leg buckles immediately and she crashes back onto the bed, gasping. The door opens. A woman enters, mid-40s, stern face, wearing medical scrubs. She carries a tray with pills and water. "Don't move," the woman says. No warmth in her voice, pure command. "You've got 3 cracked ribs, a fractured femur, and a concussion. Standing is off the table for at least another week." Celine stares. "Where am I?" "Recovering." That's not an answer. The woman sets the tray on the bedside table, then crosses her arms. "You're in a private residence. Your injuries have been treated. You're safe." Safe from what? From dying in an alley like garbage. The words hit harder than they should. Celine's hands shake. She grips the sheets to steady them. "I want to leave." "No, you don't. You can't keep me here." The woman's expression doesn't change. "Mr. Moretti saved your life. You'll stay until you're strong enough to survive on your own." Those are his terms. Moretti. The name triggers something in Celine's memory. She's heard it before. Damien mentioned it once during a phone call she wasn't supposed to overhear, something about territories and negotiations and keeping certain people happy. "Lucien Moretti," Celine whispers. The woman's eyes flicker with something that might be surprise. "You know him?" "I know what he is." Everyone on the East Coast knows Lucien Moretti's name. Crime syndicate leader. The man who controls half of Raventon City's underground operations. Politicians won't say his name out loud, but they cash his checks. Police commissioners retire early rather than investigate his empire. Celine's stomach drops. She traded one monster for another. The woman picks up the pills. "Take these. They'll help with the pain." "I don't want them." That wasn't a request. They stare at each other. Celine sees no sympathy in the woman's face. No kindness. Just clinical detachment. Finally, Celine takes the pills and swallows them dry. The woman nods. "Good. Someone will bring you food in an hour." She turns to leave. "Wait," Celine says. "Why did he save me?" The woman pauses at the door. For a moment, she seems to consider the question. Then she looks back over her shoulder. "You'd have to ask him that yourself." The door closes. Celine hears the distinct sound of a lock clicking into place. She's not a guest. She's a prisoner. 3 days pass. Celine sees no one except the medical woman, whose name she learns is Dr. Chen, and a rotating cast of silent men who bring her meals and leave without making eye contact. The food is expensive. Steak, fresh fish, vegetables that taste like they came from some private farm. She eats mechanically, forcing herself to regain strength. Her phone is gone. Dr. Chen claims it was destroyed in the alley. Every window is locked from the outside. The bedroom door stays bolted unless someone's entering with food or medical supplies. Celine spends hours staring at the ocean, watching waves crash against the cliffs. She thinks about Damien, about the 6 years she spent as his wife, attending charity galas and smiling for photographers while he built his tech empire. She thinks about the night he beat her. It wasn't the first time he'd hit her, but it was the first time he tried to kill her. The door opens. Celine turns, expecting Dr. Chen. Instead, Lucien Moretti walks into her room. He looks exactly like she remembers from the alley, tall, dark-haired, wearing an expensive suit that fits perfectly across his shoulders. But in daylight, she sees details the rain obscured. The scar running through his left eyebrow. The way he moves with absolute confidence, like every space he enters already belongs to him. He stops a few feet from the bed, studies her with those unreadable eyes. "You're healing faster than expected," he says. Celine's pulse kicks up. She forces herself to meet his gaze. "Thanks for the medical care. I'd like to leave now." "No. You can't keep me here." "I can, and I will." Lucien crosses to the window, hands in his pockets. "Your husband tried to kill you. If you walk out of here, he'll finish the job." "Damien thinks I'm dead." "Does he?" Lucien glances at her. "Or did he leave you in my territory hoping I'd find you?" The question lands like a punch. Celine's breath catches. Lucien turns to face her fully. Your husband is smarter than you think. He knew exactly where he dumped you. 2 blocks from one of my distribution centers. In an alley my people patrol every night. Why would he want you to find me? Because dead bodies in my territory mean I have to respond. And responses mean attention. Police, federal investigations, things that make business complicated. Lucien's expression doesn't change. Your husband wanted you found. He just didn't want to be the one who killed you. Celine's mind races. Damien always calculated risk, always planned 3 steps ahead. She'd watched him dismantle competitors with surgical precision. So you think I'm bait, she says quietly. I know you're bait. Then why keep me alive? Lucien moves closer to the bed. Celine's instinct screams at her to back away, but she forces herself to stay still. Because I don't like being manipulated, Lucien says, and because you might be useful. Useful how? He studies her face. Tell me what your husband does. He runs a tech company. Be specific. Celine hesitates. Damien's business dealings weren't something he discussed with her. She was decoration. The pretty wife who smiled at investors and remembered everyone's names at parties. But she'd listened, paid attention, noticed things. He develops surveillance technology, she says slowly. Security systems, facial recognition software, some government contracts. What kind of government contracts? I don't know. Lucien's eyes narrow. You're lying. I'm not. You're lying because you're scared. He leans against the wall. But fear won't help you here. Truth might. Celine's hands clench in the sheets. Her ribs ache. Everything in her body tells her to shut up, stay quiet, don't give this man ammunition. But Lucien saved her life, and Damien tried to take it. Military, she whispers. Some of his contracts are with the military. Surveillance systems for foreign operations. Drone technology. Things he doesn't talk about at dinner parties. How do you know this? I used to handle his correspondence. Before he decided I was too curious. Her voice hardens. Before he started locking his office and changing his passwords. Lucien nods slowly. Your husband's been selling military-grade surveillance technology to a criminal consortium, the Karate Syndicate. They're using it to expand operations in 6 states. The words hit Celine like ice water. That's impossible, she breathes. It's not, and you knew too much. Lucien pushes off the wall. That's why he tried to kill you, not because he stopped loving you, because you became a liability. Celine's vision blurs. She blinks hard, refusing to cry in front of this man. Damien didn't beat her because of rage. He beat her because she was inconvenient. So what happens now? Her voice comes out steady despite everything. You keep me locked up here? Use me as leverage against Damien? I'm giving you a choice. Lucien moves toward the door. Stay here under my protection until you're strong enough to survive on your own, or leave tomorrow and take your chances. Those aren't real choices. They're the only ones you have. He pauses at the threshold. If you stay, you follow my rules. No phone calls. No contact with anyone from your old life. No questions about my business. And if I leave? Lucien looks back at her. For the first time, something almost like sympathy crosses his face. Your husband has resources I can't match. Private security, political connections, money that buys silence. He grips the door handle. If you run, you'll be dead within 48 hours, and I won't save you twice. The door closes behind him. Celine sits alone in the expensive room, staring at the ocean through locked windows. She thinks about 6 years of marriage, 6 years of smiling through bruises, 6 years of making herself smaller, quieter, more convenient. She thinks about Damien's hands around her throat, and she makes her choice. Cook. 1 week later, Celine can walk. It hurts like hell, but she manages to limp from the bed to the window without collapsing. Small victories. Dr. Chen reduces her pain medication. You're healing well. Another 2 weeks and the femur should be stable enough for physical therapy. I want to start now. You're not ready. I don't care. Dr. Chen's expression softens slightly. Pushing too hard will set you back. Trust the process. But Celine stopped trusting processes the night Damien drove her to that alley. She spends her days doing what exercises she can manage. Stretching, moving her leg carefully, testing her range of motion. The pain is constant, but she welcomes it. Pain means she's alive. She sees Lucien twice more that week. Once when he enters her room at midnight, bleeding from a gash across his shoulder. He doesn't explain, just lets Dr. Chen stitch him up while Celine watches from the bed, pretending to sleep. Once when she wakes at dawn and finds him standing by her window, staring at the ocean. He doesn't acknowledge her presence. After 10 silent minutes, he leaves. The man is a ghost in his own house. But Celine learns things anyway. She learns his estate has 17 bedrooms and 23 people living in it at any given time. She learns the security shifts change every 6 hours. She learns Lucien's inner circle consists of exactly 4 people he trusts completely. She learns all this by listening. The men who bring her meals talk to each other in the hallway. They think she's asleep. They discuss shipments and territories and someone named Raphael who handles Lucien's security operations. Celine files every piece of information away. On the 8th day, her door unlocks at 6 a.m. A man enters. Hispanic, early 40s, with scars crossing his face like map lines and eyes that see everything. He wears tactical pants and a black shirt that shows off arms built from violence. "Get up," he says. Celine sits upright. "Who are you?" Rafael Torres, Lucien's head of security. He tosses a bundle of clothes onto her bed. "You wanted to train. Let's see if you mean it." Her pulse jumps. "I can barely walk." "Then you'll learn to walk better." Rafael crosses his arms. "You've got 10 minutes to change and meet me in the courtyard. If you're late, I leave." He walks out. Celine stares at the clothes, athletic pants, running shoes, a compression shirt. She thinks about staying in bed, about telling Rafael she changed her mind. Then she thinks about Damien's hands, and she gets dressed. "You see me sick." The courtyard is a massive stone terrace overlooking the cliffs. Early morning fog rolls in from the Atlantic, turning everything gray and cold. Rafael stands in the center, arms crossed, watching Celine limp toward him. "You're late," he says, "by 30 seconds. 30 seconds gets you killed." He gestures to the ground. "Drop and give me 10 push-ups." Celine stares. "My ribs are cracked, not broken." 10 push-ups. She lowers herself carefully to the stone. Her ribs scream. Her leg threatens to buckle. She manages 3 push-ups before collapsing. Rafael doesn't help her up. Again. "I can't." Again. Celine grits her teeth, pushes through the pain, gets to 5 before her arms give out. Rafael crouches beside her. "You know what separates survivors from victims?" She can't answer, can't breathe. "Victims wait for permission to get stronger," Rafael says quietly. "Survivors don't ask, they take." He stands and offers his hand. Celine looks at it for a long moment. Then she grabs it and lets him pull her upright. "Tomorrow, 6 a.m., Rafael says. "We'll try for 6 push-ups." He leaves her standing in the courtyard, shaking and exhausted, but standing. The training becomes routine. Every morning at 6, Rafael pushes Celine past her limits. Push-ups, squats, core exercises that make her ribs feel like they're tearing apart. He doesn't go easy on her, doesn't offer sympathy. When she falls, he tells her to get up. When she cries, he ignores it. When she screams that she can't do it anymore, he says, "Then quit." But Celine doesn't quit. She shows up every morning, even when her body begs her to stay in bed. She pushes through exercises that leave her gasping and bleeding from reopened cuts. Rafael teaches her more than physical training. He teaches her how to fall without breaking, how to protect her head during an impact, how to recognize when someone's about to hit you based on their shoulder movement. Violence has a language, he tells her one morning while demonstrating blocking techniques. Learn to read it and you'll never be surprised again. Celine practices blocks until her forearms are covered in bruises. 2 weeks into training, Rafael brings a gun. Celine freezes when she sees it. "I'm not..." "Shut up and listen." Rafael checks the chamber. This is a Glock 19, standard 9mm, 15-round magazine. He demonstrates proper grip. "You're going to learn to shoot." "I don't want to." "I don't care." He extends the unloaded weapon. "Take it." Celine's hands shake. The gun feels heavier than it should. Cold. Wrong. Raphael adjusts her grip, positioning her fingers correctly. Shooting isn't about being brave, it's about being willing to survive. They spend 3 hours on basic handling. No live ammunition, just practicing grip, stance, sight alignment. Raphael corrects her posture 100 times. You flinch before pulling the trigger, he observes. Because I hate this. Good. You should hate it. Raphael takes the weapon back. Fear keeps you careful. Comfortable people make mistakes. That night, Celine lies in bed, unable to sleep. She keeps thinking about the gun, about how easily Raphael handled it, about Damien and the cold way he looked at her before leaving her to die. She realizes something. Being a victim gave her the moral high ground. Being a survivor means getting her hands dirty. She's not sure which one she wants to be anymore. 3 weeks after arriving at Lucien's estate, Celine walks without limping. Dr. Chen clears her for full physical activity. Raphael immediately increases training intensity. Now they spar. He pulls his punches, but not by much. Celine learns quickly that hesitation gets you hit. She takes shots to the ribs, the jaw, the stomach. Raphael teaches her to protect her center line and keep her hands up. You telegraph every punch, he says, after knocking her flat for the 10th time. Stop thinking. React. Celine spits blood. Easy for you to say. It's not easy. It's necessary. He offers his hand. Again. They go again and again and again. Celine loses track of how many times she hits the ground, but each time she gets back up faster. Between training sessions, she explores the estate. Lucien's home is more fortress than mansion. Armed guards patrol the perimeter. Security cameras cover every angle. The main house connects to a separate building housing Lucien's operations center, a place Celine isn't allowed to enter. She sees Lucien occasionally, usually at night, moving through the house like a shadow. They don't speak. He watches her sometimes from across rooms, his expression unreadable. Celine can't figure him out. He saved her but doesn't demand gratitude, protects her but doesn't treat her like property, keeps her locked in his estate but gives her freedom to move through it. It's the opposite of how Damien controlled her. Damien used chains disguised as love. Lucien uses protection disguised as imprisonment. She's not sure which is worse. One evening, Celine finds Raphael smoking on the terrace. He offers her a cigarette. She takes it despite never smoking before. Why does Lucien care if I survive? She asks. Raphael exhales smoke. You'd have to ask him. I'm asking you. He studies her face. Lucien doesn't save people. Not usually, but he found you in his territory, beaten half to death by a man who's supposed to be legitimate. So it pissed him off. Raphael crushes his cigarette under his boot. Lucien has rules. He doesn't pretend to be something he's not. Your husband runs a legal business and commits crimes in secret. That kind of hypocrisy bothers Lucy. More than anything. Celine thinks about that, about Damien's polished public image versus the man who beat her in an alley. What does Lucien want from me? Raphael looks at her for a long moment. I think he's still figuring that out. 4 weeks after the alley, Celine fires a live round for the first time. Raphael sets up targets in the estate's private shooting range, a soundproofed bunker built into the cliffs. He loads the Glock and hands it to her. Remember your grip, he says. Breathe out slowly when you pull the trigger. Celine's hands shake. The weight of the loaded weapon feels different, heavier, more real. She aims at the paper target 20 feet away, breathes out, pulls the trigger. The recoil kicks harder than expected. The shot goes wide, missing the target completely. The sound echoes in her ears despite the noise-canceling headphones. Again, Raphael says. Celine fires, misses, fires, misses, fires, finally hits the edge of the target. Raphael nods. Better. Empty the magazine. She fires until the slide locks back. Out of 15 shots, she hits the target 6 times, none of them center mass. Terrible, Raphael says, but it's a start. They train with live ammunition every day after that. Celine's accuracy improves slowly. Her hands stop shaking. The recoil becomes familiar instead of frightening. She hates how natural it starts to feel. One morning during firearms training, Lucien appears in the shooting range. Celine doesn't notice him at first. She's focused on the target, adjusting her stance the way Raphael taught her. She fires 3 shots, all center mass. Good grouping, Lucien says from behind her. She spins, nearly dropping the weapon. Raphael takes the Glock from her hands. I'll give you two some privacy. He leaves before Celine can protest. Lucien moves to the control panel and activates a fresh target. Show me what Raphael taught you. I'm not a trained monkey. No, you're a woman learning to survive. He gestures to the range. Prove it. Celine's jaw tightens. She reloads the Glock, chambers around, and fires 6 shots in rapid succession. All of them hit center mass. Lucien studies the target. Raphael's a good teacher. Why are you here? He turns to face her. We need to talk about your husband. The words make Celine's stomach drop. What about him? He's been asking questions, discreetly, wondering if anyone found a body near the industrial district. Lucien crosses his arms. He's not sure you're dead. Celine's pulse kicks up. So what happens now? Now we confirm his suspicions. Lucien pulls out his phone and shows her a photograph. It's Celine, leaving the estate, walking down a public street in downtown Raventon City. This was taken this morning, Lucien says, by one of Damien's people. Celine's blood goes cold. I haven't left the estate. I know, the photo is fabricated, but your husband doesn't know that. Lucien puts the phone away. He'll see this by tonight, and he'll know you're alive. Why would you do that? Because I'm tired of waiting. Lucien's expression hardens. Your husband's been selling military technology to the karate syndicate. They've been expanding operations into my territory, using your husband's surveillance systems to track my movements. You want to start a war. I want to finish one. He steps closer. Damien used you as bait. Now I'm using you as a declaration. Celine's hands clench. You should have asked me first. Would you have said no? She wants to say yes. Wants to tell him she's not a pawn in his game, but she thinks about Damien's hands around her throat, and she realizes Lucien's right. What do I have to do? She asks quietly. Lucien's eyes gleam. Tomorrow night, you're going to see your husband face to face. The restaurant is called Meridian, 5-star. Reservation list 3 months long. Damien takes clients here when he wants to impress them. Celine sits in a private back room, wearing a black dress Lucien's people provided. Her ribs still ache, but the pain feels distant now. Manageable. Raphael stands near the door, armed. 2 more of Lucien's men wait outside. Lucien sits across from her, looking relaxed despite the tension. He'll arrive in 5 minutes, Lucien says, checking his watch. You don't have to do this. Celine's laugh comes out bitter. Yes, I do. Why? She meets his eyes. Because I need to see his face when he realizes I survived. The door opens. Damien Vale walks in wearing a tailored suit, looking exactly like the man she married 6 years ago. Handsome, polished, completely in control. His eyes land on Celine and something flickers across his face. Shock, then calculation. Hello, Damien, Celine says. He recovers quickly, smooths his expression into pleasant neutrality. Celine, you're looking well. No thanks to you. Damien glances at Lucien. Mr. Moretti, I appreciate the invitation, but I'm not sure what this is about. Sit down, Lucien says. Not a request. Damien sits. Celine studies her husband, looking for something. Regret, guilt, any sign that beating her affected him. She sees nothing. You left me to die, she says quietly. Damien folds his hands on the table. I did what was necessary. Necessary. You were becoming a problem, Celine, asking questions, snooping through my files. His voice stays calm, reasonable. I couldn't have you interfering with business. So you tried to kill me. I made a strategic decision. The words hit like a slap. Celine's vision blurs red. Lucien leans forward. Tell her about the karate syndicate. Damien's expression doesn't change, but Celine sees his jaw tighten. I don't know what you're talking about. You've been selling them military-grade surveillance technology, using offshore accounts to hide the transactions. Lucien pulls out a folder and slides it across the table. I have documentation, bank transfers, shipping manifests, everything. Damien doesn't look at the folder. Even if that were true, it's not illegal. Selling classified military technology to criminal organizations is very illegal. Prove it, Lucian smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. I don't need to prove it. I just need your wife to testify. Damien finally looks at Celine, really looks at her. You won't, he says confidently, because then you'd have to admit you knew, that you helped me, that you're complicit. Celine's breath catches. I didn't. You handled my correspondence for 3 years, organized my meetings, managed my calendar. Damien leans back. Any investigation will find your fingerprints all over my operation. The truth of it settles like concrete in her stomach. He's right. She signed documents, scheduled meetings, paid invoices, all the administrative work that kept Damien's empire running smoothly. If he goes down, she goes down with him. Damien sees the realization on her face and smiles. You were an asset, Celine, a useful one for a while, but assets expire. Something inside her breaks, not shatters. Breaks clean, like a bone setting wrong that finally snaps back into alignment. Celine stands, her hands don't shake, her voice doesn't waver. I'm going to destroy everything you built, she says. Damien laughs. With what? You have nothing. No money, no connections, no proof that wouldn't incriminate you as well. I have time. Celine leans across the table. And I have absolutely nothing left to lose, which makes me more dangerous than you'll ever understand. She walks out of the restaurant without looking back. Raphael follows her into the night. Behind them, Lucienne stays seated across from Damien. Your wife just became my problem, Damien says. Fix it. Lucien's expression never changes. No. Then we have an issue. Yes? We do. Lucien stands. I'm declaring your operations in my territory void as of tonight. Your partnership with the karate syndicate is over. Damien's mask finally cracks. Anger flashes across his face. You can't do that. I just did. Lucien heads for the door, then pauses. And Damien? If you come after Celine again, I'll consider it a declaration of war. He leaves Damien sitting alone in the private room. Outside, Celine stands on the sidewalk, breathing hard. Raphael waits nearby, giving her space. Lucien emerges from the restaurant. You okay? Celine doesn't answer, can't answer. She's not okay. She's something else entirely. Something harder. Something Damien created when he left her bleeding in that alley. A car pulls up. One of Lucien's armored SUVs. Raphael opens the door. Let's go home, Lucien says quietly. Celine climbs into the vehicle. As they drive through Raventon City's glittering streets, she stares out the window and thinks about Damien's face when she threatened him. He didn't believe her. He should have. The attack comes 3 hours later. Celine is in her room, trying to sleep, when gunfire erupts somewhere in the estate. She bolts upright. More gunfire, shouting, the distinct sound of breaking glass. Her door crashes open. Raphael stands there, bleeding from a cut across his temple. We're under siege. Stay here and lock the door. What's happening? The karate syndicate is cleaning house. Your husband's dead. We're next. He tosses her a handgun, the Glock 19 she trained with. You know how to use this. Use it. He disappears down the hallway. Celine stares at the gun in her hands. Damien's dead. The thought doesn't register properly. She should feel something. Relief, grief, anything. She feels numb. More gunfire, closer this time. Celine checks the Glock's chamber, loaded, 15 rounds. She thinks about hiding under the bed. Then she thinks about Raphael teaching her to move through fear, and she steps into the hallway. The estate is chaos. Smoke fills the corridors, security alarms scream. Celine moves carefully, keeping her back to the wall, gun raised. She finds the first body near the stairs, one of Lucien's guards, throat cut. Her stomach lurches. Keep moving. She reaches the operations center and finds the door blown open. Inside, 3 men in tactical gear are executing Lucien's people. Celine freezes. One of the men turns, sees her, raises his weapon. She fires without thinking. The first shot goes wide. The second hits him in the shoulder. He falls. The other 2 men spin toward her. Celine ducks back into the hallway as bullets tear through the doorframe. She runs, legs pumping, lungs burning. Someone tackles her from behind. She hits the floor hard. The Glock skitters away. A massive hand wraps around her throat. "Found the asset," a voice growls into a radio. Celine claws at his grip. Can't breathe. Vision tunneling. Raphael appears out of nowhere and drives a knife into the man's kidney. The grip loosens. Celine gasps air. Raphael pulls her upright. "Move!" They run through smoke-filled corridors while the estate collapses into war around them. Celine sees Lucien ahead, firing at targets she can't see. Blood soaks his left side. "The penthouse is compromised," Lucy shouts. "We're evacuating." An explosion rocks the building. Ceiling panels collapse. Celine throws herself against the wall as debris crashes down. When the dust clears, she sees Lucien on the ground, not moving. "No." Raphael reaches him first. Celine staggers over. Lucien's eyes are open, but blood pools beneath him. The bullet hits somewhere near his spine. "Can you move him?" she asks Raphael. "I move him, he might be paralyzed. And if we leave him, he's dead." More gunfire, getting closer. Raphael curses in Spanish, then carefully lifts Lucien into a fireman's carry. "Stay close." They fight their way to the garage. Celine picks up the Glock she dropped earlier. Her hands shake violently, but she keeps the weapon raised. An armored SUV waits with the engine running. Raphael loads Lucien into the back seat, then slides behind the wheel. Celine climbs in beside Lucien and presses her hands against his wound. "Drive," Raphael says into his radio. "Now." The SUV crashes through the garage door and speeds into the night. Behind them, Lucien's estate burns. Celine keeps pressure on the wound while Lucien's blood soaks her hands. His eyes flutter. He tries to speak but can't. "Stay awake," she tells him. "Don't you dare die." His hand finds hers, squeezes once. Then his eyes close. If you or someone you know is having a difficult time, free support is available. Find resources. The cabin smells like blood and diesel fuel. Celine kneels beside the makeshift surgical table, really just a dining table they cleared in 30 seconds, pressing gauze against Lucien's entry wound while Dr. Chen works with trembling hands to extract the bullet. The cabin sits deep in the Adirondack Mountains, 3 hours north of Raventon City, accessible only by a logging road that barely qualifies as a path. Raphael stands guard at the window, rifle braced against his shoulder, scanning the tree line every 15 seconds. His face is carved from stone. "I need more light," Dr. Chen says. Her voice cracks. Celine adjusts the camping lantern. The beam catches Lucien's face, skin gray, lips blue, eyes closed. His breathing comes shallow and uneven. "How bad?" Raphael asks without turning from the window. Dr. Chen doesn't answer immediately. She probes the wound with surgical forceps. Lucien's body jerks. Celine holds him down. "The bullet's lodged near his L2 vertebra," Dr. Chen finally says. "If I go deeper, I risk severing his spinal cord. If I leave it, infection will kill him in 48 hours. So take it out." "I'm not a trauma surgeon, Raphael. I'm a general practitioner who stitches up knife wounds and sets broken bones. This is beyond my skill level." "Then learn fast." Dr. Chen's hands shake harder. Sweat beads on her forehead despite the mountain cold seeping through the cabin walls. Celine watches her, really watches her. The woman who treated her injuries with clinical detachment is falling apart. "You need to step outside," Celine tells Dr. Chen quietly. "What?" "Your hands are shaking. You're going to kill him." Celine keeps her voice level. "Take 5 minutes. Get yourself together." Dr. Chen stares at her like she's been slapped. Then she drops the forceps onto the table and walks out the front door. Raphael glances back. That was stupid. She's panicking. Panicked surgeons make mistakes. And what do you know about surgery? Nothing, but I know what fear looks like. Celine grabs fresh gauze and applies pressure to the wound. Blood seeps through immediately, warm and sticky. Lucien's breathing stutters. "Stay with me," she whispers. "Don't you dare check out now." His eyes flutter open, unfocused. He tries to speak, but only manages a wheeze. "Save your strength," Celine says. His hand moves, fingers finding hers. The grip is weak but deliberate. She holds on. Dr. Chen returns 3 minutes later. Her hands are steadier. She picks up the forceps, takes a breath, and goes back to work. The extraction takes 40 minutes. When Dr. Chen finally pulls the deformed bullet free, Celine feels something in her chest unclench. Not relief. Something harder to name. Got it, Dr. Chen says. She drops the bullet into a metal dish with a clink. Now I need to close him up and pray I didn't nick anything vital. She works methodically. Internal sutures, external stitches, bandages wrapped tight. By the time she finishes, dawnlight bleeds through the cabin windows. Lucian still hasn't regained consciousness. What now? Raphael asks. Dr. Chen peels off bloody gloves. Now we wait. If he makes it through the next 12 hours without spiking a fever, he might survive. Might. And if he doesn't make it? Dr. Chen looks at him with hollow eyes. Then you're in charge of a war you can't win. She walks into the cabin's only bedroom and shuts the door. Raphael and Celine sit in silence. Outside, birds start singing. The normalcy of it feels obscene. How many did we lose? Celine asks. Raphael's jaw tightens. 15 confirmed dead. Another 8 missing. The estate is gone. Operations Center destroyed. Records burned. What about the karate syndicate? Still operational. The attack on us was surgical. They knew exactly where to hit and when. Raphael finally turns from the window. Someone fed them intelligence. Celine's stomach drops. You think there's a traitor? I know there is. No one outside Lucien's inner circle knew about that estate's layout. The security rotations, the safe rooms. His eyes bore into hers. Someone sold us out. Don't look at me. I'm not, but others will. Raphael sets his rifle against the wall. You're the newest variable. You showed up, and 2 weeks later we're burning. I believe you, but belief doesn't matter when bodies start piling up. He crosses to the kitchen and starts making coffee. The crew that survived is scared. They want answers, someone to blame. Celine watches him move. Economical, precise. Even making coffee looks like a tactical operation. Why did Lucien really save me? She asks. Raphael pauses mid-scoop. What makes you think there's a hidden reason? Because men like him don't act on impulse. He found me in that alley and made a choice. I want to know why. Raphael finishes with the coffee, sets it brewing, then leans against the counter. His scarred face gives nothing away. 7 years ago, Lucien found his sister bleeding out in a similar alley. Different city, different circumstances, but close enough. Raphael's voice stays flat. She'd gotten mixed up with a rival crew. They tortured her for information, then dumped her in Lucien's territory as a message. Celine's breath catches. Did she survive? For 3 days. Long enough to tell Lucien who did it. Long enough to make him promise he'd never let it happen to someone else. Raphael pours 2 cups of coffee. He keeps that promise every chance he gets. So I'm a replacement. You're a second chance. Raphael hands her a cup. Don't waste it. He walks back to his position at the window. Celine sits beside Lucien's unconscious form and drinks bitter coffee while watching his chest rise and fall in shallow rhythm. She thinks about sisters and second chances and the way trauma reshapes people into weapons. Her phone, the burner Raphael gave her yesterday, vibrates. Unknown number. She stares at it. Answer it, Raphael says. Could be important. Celine swipes to accept. Hello? Silence. Then a voice she recognizes despite the distortion. Celine Vale, you're harder to kill than expected. Her blood turns to ice. Who is this? Vittorio Carati. I believe you've been dismantling my business arrangements with your late husband. Celine's grip tightens on the phone. Raphael moves closer, listening. Damien's dead, she says. Yes, unfortunate but necessary. He was becoming careless, drawing attention. Vittorio's voice carries the casual cruelty of someone accustomed to violence. You, however, present an interesting problem. I don't know anything. You know enough. You lived with Damien Vale for 6 years, managed his correspondence, attended his meetings. A pause. You're a liability I can't afford. Then why call instead of finishing the job? Vittorio laughs. Because I'm offering you an alternative. Work for me. Tell me everything you know about Damien's operations, his contacts, his security protocols. In exchange, I let you disappear. New identity, new life, far from Raventon City. Celine looks at Lucian, at the bandages wrapped around his torso, at the blood still seeping through despite Dr. Chen's best efforts. And if I refuse, then I put a $10 million bounty on your head. Every contract killer on the East Coast will be hunting you. Lucien Moretti won't be able to protect you, assuming he even survives the night. Raphael shakes his head sharply. Don't engage. But Celine's anger overwhelms caution. You made a mistake calling me, she says quietly. Did I? You confirmed you're scared, otherwise you'd just kill me and be done with it. She stands, pacing. You need information I have, which means you're vulnerable. Silence on the other end. When Vittorio speaks again, the casual tone is gone. You have 24 hours to reconsider. After that, the bounty goes live. The line goes dead. Celine lowers the phone with shaking hands. Raphael crosses to her. What did he offer? Immunity in exchange for everything I know about Damien's operations. Are you considering it? She looks him dead in the eye. No. Good. Because if you were, I'd shoot you myself. Raphael takes the phone, removes the battery, and crushes both under his boot. Vittorio Carradi doesn't make deals. He makes examples. So what's the play? We survive the next 24 hours. Then we figure out how to kill him. Simple. Brutal. Honest. Celine realizes she's starting to understand how Lucien's world operates. Lucien wakes at noon. His eyes snap open, unfocused, wild. He tries to sit up and gasp when pain explodes through his back. Celine pushes him down. Don't move. You've got a bullet hole near your spine. He stares at her. Recognition dawns slowly. Where are we? Safe house, mountains, 3 hours north. The estate? Gone. Burned. 15 dead. Lucien closes his eyes. His jaw works like he's chewing glass. Raphael? He manages. Alive? Keeping watch? Dr. Chen? Resting. She pulled the bullet out. Saved your life. Lucian's breathing comes heavy. He tries to move his legs. His right leg responds. His left barely twitches. Panic flashes across his face. Can you feel this? Celine touches his left foot. Barely. Dr. Chen says the swelling might be causing nerve compression. It could improve. Or it might not. Lucian's voice goes flat. How bad is the rest of it? Celine doesn't sugarcoat. Vittorio Carradi called me an hour ago, offered me a deal, information for immunity. When I refused, he threatened to put a $10 million bounty on my head. Christ. It gets worse. Someone inside your organization fed the Carradi syndicate intelligence about the estate. Raphael thinks there's a traitor. Lucien's eyes close again. Raphael's right, always is. So what do we do? We? He looks at her. You should run. Take whatever money you need from my accounts and disappear. South America, Southeast Asia. Somewhere the syndicate won't follow. I'm not running. Celine? I said I'm not running. Her voice hardens. They killed Damien, burned your estate, put a target on both our backs. Running doesn't solve that. Staying gets you killed. Maybe, but at least I die on my terms. She meets his gaze. Besides, you're not exactly in fighting shape. Someone needs to watch your back. Lucien studies her face for a long moment. Whatever he sees there makes him nod slowly. You're insane, he mutters. So I've been told. Raphael enters from outside, tracked snow on his boots. We've got movement on the access road, 2 vehicles. Could be ours, could be hostiles. Lucien tries to sit up again. This time Celine helps him, propping pillows behind his back. His face goes white with pain, but he doesn't make a sound. How long until they reach us? Lucien asks. 10 minutes, maybe less. Wake Dr. Chen. Get the weapons ready. If it's hostiles, we make our stand here. Raphael disappears into the bedroom. Celine checks the Glock she's been carrying since the estate. 15 rounds, 2 spare magazines in her pocket. You know how to use that? Lucien asks. Raphael taught me. That's not what I asked. She looks at him. I killed someone last night. One of the men who attacked the estate. Shot him in the shoulder, then center mass when he kept coming. How do you feel about that? Celine considers the question. Searches for guilt, for horror, for anything resembling the person she was 6 weeks ago. Finds nothing. I feel like I want to stay alive, she says. Lucien nods. That'll do. Dr. Chen emerges from the bedroom looking half dead. Raphael hands her a pistol. She takes it with visible reluctance. I'm a doctor, not a soldier, she says. Today you're both, Raphael replies. They wait in tense silence. The sound of engines grows louder, closer. Celine positions herself near a window with a clear sightline to the approach road. 2 black SUVs appear through the trees. I count 6 occupants, Raphael says, scope pressed to his eye. Wait, I recognize the lead vehicle. It's Marcus. Lucien exhales. Stand down, they're ours. The SUVs pull up to the cabin. 6 of Lucien's people climb out, battle-worn, exhausted, armed to the teeth. The leader is a broad-shouldered man in his 50s with a gray beard and eyes like broken glass. Marcus. He enters the cabin, takes in Lucien's condition, and his expression goes carefully neutral. Boss, glad you're alive. Barely. What's the status? Marcus pulls up a chair. The other 5 spread out, securing the perimeter. One of them, a woman with a shaved head and burn scars, nods at Celine before taking position at the window. We lost the estate, but we saved most of the crew, Marcus says. 23 survivors total, scattered across 4 safe houses. The karate syndicate hit us hard, but they took casualties too. We confirmed 8 of their men dead. Command structure. Intact. Vittorio's still running operations from his compound. His son Dante is handling enforcement. They're consolidating power fast. Marcus pauses. And there's a bounty. 10 million on Celine Vale, 5 million on you. When did the bounty go live? 20 minutes ago. Lucien curses under his breath. Celine feels every eye in the room shift to her. I didn't ask for this, she says. Doesn't matter, Marcus replies. You're the reason we're in this war. Watch your mouth, Raphael snaps. It's the truth. She shows up, and suddenly we're bleeding. Marcus stands. Some of the crew are asking questions, wondering if keeping her alive is worth losing everything we built. Lucien's voice goes cold. The crew doesn't make those decisions. I do. With respect, boss, you're in no condition to make decisions. You can barely move. The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Raphael's hand drifts toward his sidearm. Marcus notices but doesn't back down. I'm not trying to start something. I'm telling you what people are thinking. We need a plan. A real one, not just hiding in the mountains waiting for the syndicate to find us. What would you suggest, Lucien asks. Cut our losses, give them the girl, use her as a bargaining chip to end this war before we lose everything. Celine's stomach lurches. Raphael draws his weapon. Say that again. Marcus doesn't flinch. You know I'm right. She's not one of us. She's a liability we can't afford. She's under my protection, Lucien says quietly. That makes her one of us. Your protection isn't worth much right now. The words hang in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Lucien tries to stand. Can't. The effort costs him, and everyone sees it. Marcus shakes his head. I'm taking the crew south. Regrouping. If you want to stay here and die protecting her, that's your choice. But I'm not sacrificing good people for some rich man's ex-wife who knows too much. He heads for the door. Marcus, Lucien says. Marcus stops. If you walk out that door, you're done. No coming back. I know. Marcus leaves. 4 of the 5 people who came with him follow. Only the woman with the burn scars stays behind. The SUVs start up and disappear into the trees. Silence settles over the cabin. Raphael lowers his weapon. We just lost a third of our remaining crew. I know. This is falling apart. I know. Dr. Chen sinks into a chair. We can't hold this position, not with only 4 of us. 5, the scarred woman says. Her voice sounds like gravel. Name's Kira. I stay. Raphael nods at her. Why? Because Marcus is a coward, and I don't follow cowards. Kira checks her rifle. Besides, someone needs to teach the new girl how to fight properly. Celine bristles. I know how to fight. You know how to shoot. Different skill set. Kira's eyes assess her. Raphael teach you close quarters? Some. Not enough. I'll fix that. Lucien closes his eyes. The conversation drains what little energy he has left. We need to move, Raphael says. This location is compromised. Marcus knows where we are. Where do we go? Dr. Chen asks. I know a place, Kira says. Old Smuggler's Tunnel system near the Canadian border. 5 hours north. No one knows about it except people who've been dead 10 years. Raphael looks at Lucien. Can you travel? Lucien's breathing has gone shallow again. Sweat beads his forehead. Do I have a choice? Not really. Then let's move. They prepare to evacuate. Dr. Chen stabilizes Lucien with additional bandaging and a cocktail of antibiotics that might buy them 48 hours. Kira and Raphael load weapons and supplies into the remaining SUV. Celine helps where she can, but mostly she feels useless. She catches Kira watching her. Something you want to say? Celine asks. Kira lights a cigarette. Marcus was wrong about one thing. What's that? You're not a liability. You're a weapon they haven't figured out how to use yet. She exhales smoke. But you will be. I'm not a weapon. Everyone's a weapon if you sharpen them, right? Kira crushes the cigarette under her boot. Question is, what are you willing to become? Before Celine can answer, gunfire erupts from the tree line. Bullets shred the cabin's front wall. Windows explode. Raphael dives for cover, returning fire. Kira grabs Celine and throws her behind the overturned table. How many? Raphael shouts. At least 12, Kira answers. Professional, coordinated. This isn't random. More gunfire. A grenade crashes through the shattered window and rolls across the floor. Grenade! Dr. Chen screams. Raphael kicks it back outside. It detonates midair, shaking the cabin's foundation. We can't hold this position, Kira says. We need to move. Now. Raphael drags Lucien toward the back door. Dr. Chen follows. Celine provides covering fire, shooting blindly at muzzle flashes in the trees. They burst out the back entrance into knee-deep snow. The SUV is parked 50 feet away. Might as well be a mile. Go! Raphael yells. They run. Bullets tear through the snow around them. Celine slips, falls, scrambles upright. Her lungs burn. Her leg, the one Damien broke, threatens to give out. Kira reaches the SUV first, gets the engine started. Celine throws herself into the back seat beside Lucien. Dr. Chen climbs in front. Raphael lays down suppressing fire, backing toward the vehicle. A bullet catches him high in the shoulder. He spins, goes down hard. Raphael! Celine screams. He fires from the ground, dropping 2 attackers, drags himself upright. Kira floors the accelerator, swinging the SUV around. Raphael throws himself through the open door as they peel out. Bullets spiderweb the rear window. They crash through the forest, the SUV's 4-wheel drive barely handling the terrain. Celine looks back, sees at least 15 armed figures pursuing on foot. 2 professional, 2 organized. Who are they? She asks. Contractors, Kira says, eyes on the rough path ahead. The bounty's already drawing talent. Raphael clutches his bleeding shoulder. How'd they find us so fast? Nobody answers. But Celine knows. Marcus. He sold them out. They drive for 3 hours through back roads and logging trails, doubling back twice to throw off pursuit. By the time they reach Kira's smuggler tunnels, a series of underground passages carved into limestone cliffs, everyone's running on fumes. The tunnel entrance hides behind a waterfall. They carry Lucien inside, weapons ready, expecting another ambush. Nothing. Just darkness and the sound of dripping water. Kira produces flashlights. We're safe here. For now. The tunnels branch into a network of chambers carved out decades ago by rum runners and drug smugglers. Kira leads them to a large central room equipped with ancient cots, canned food, and a diesel generator that sputters to life after some convincing. Dr. Chen tends to Raphael's shoulder. The bullet went through clean. Lucky. Lucien lies on a cot, barely conscious. His left leg still won't respond properly. Celine sits against a wall replaying the last 6 hours. The attack. The escape. Marcus's betrayal. Everything is falling apart. Kira drops down beside her. You did good back there. I almost got us killed. Almost doesn't count. Kira hands her a canteen. Drink. You're dehydrated. Celine drinks. The water tastes like rust. Why did you stay? She asked Kira. Told you, don't follow cowards. That's not a real answer. Kira's scarred face catches the generator's harsh light. I was 17 when Lucian found me. Some men were using me as entertainment, doing things I won't describe. She traces one of the burn scars. Lucian killed all 6 of them. Didn't ask my permission. Didn't want anything in return. Just eliminated the problem and offered me a job. Celine says nothing. I've been with him 13 years, Kira continues. Watched him build an empire on principles most criminals laugh at. No human trafficking, no targeting civilians, no unnecessary violence. She looks at Celine. Men like Lucien don't exist in this world. When you find one, you don't abandon him because things get hard. Even if staying means dying? Especially then. Raphael approaches, his arm in a sling. We need to talk strategy. They gather around a makeshift table, crates stacked together. Kira spreads out a map of the region. The Karate Syndicate operates from a shipping compound on the waterfront, Raphael says. 40 men, minimum, fortified, cameras everywhere. Vittorio runs the operation from a command center in the main building. We can't assault that with 4 people, Dr. Chen says. 5, Celine corrects. Everyone looks at her. I'm fighting, she says. Don't argue. Raphael studies her. You ever cleared a room under fire? No. Ever killed someone at close range? Not yet. Not yet, Raphael repeats. He almost smiles. Kira, she's your project. You've got 48 hours to make her combat ready. Can't be done, Kira says. Make it happen anyway. Lucian's voice cuts through the discussion. We're not assaulting the compound. Everyone turns. He's sitting up, barely, supported by pillows against the stone wall. His face is gray, but his eyes are sharp. We don't have the numbers, he continues. We don't have the equipment. A direct assault is suicide. So what's the play? Raphael asks. We use their greed against them. The bounty on Celine is 10 million. On me, 5 million. That's 15 million reasons for contractors to hunt us. Lucian pauses, catching his breath. We let them find us, but on our terms. You want to use us as bait, Celine says. I want to turn the hunter into the hunted. Raphael leans forward. Explain. We leak our location, draw the contractors in, then we hit them while they're focused on collecting bounties. Lucian's breathing becomes labored. We take their weapons, their vehicles, their intel. Build our strength back up one fight at a time. That's insane, Dr. Chen says. It's the only option we have. Lucian looks at each of them. We're not strong enough to fight a war, but we're dangerous enough to survive one, if we're smart. Silence. Then Kira laughs. It's a harsh sound. I love it. Completely batshit crazy. Let's do it. Raphael nods slowly. I can make it work. Celine feels her pulse hammering. When do we start? Tomorrow, Lucien says. We leak our location tomorrow. Then we see who takes the bait. He slumps back against the pillows, exhausted. Dr. Chen checks his vitals. You need rest. Real rest. Not this. I'll rest when Vittorio's dead. The generator sputters. Shadows dance across the stone walls. Celine stands, needing movement. She walks deeper into the tunnels, following a narrow passage that opens into a smaller chamber. Her footsteps echo. She finds a rusted mirror hanging on the wall. God knows why someone put it there decades ago. Stares at her reflection. The woman looking back is a stranger. Hollow eyes, sharp cheekbones, hair pulled back tight. She looks like someone who's seen violence and absorbed it. She looks like someone capable of killing. Footsteps behind her. Kira appears in the mirror's reflection. Having second thoughts? No, just wondering who I'm becoming. Someone stronger than who you were. Is that enough? Kira moves beside her. Their reflections stand side by side, one scarred by fire, one scarred by survival. You want my honest opinion? Kira asks. Yes. You're not strong yet. You're hard. There's a difference. Kira meets her eyes in the mirror. Hard breaks under pressure. Strong bends and comes back. How do I become strong? You already started. The moment you chose to stay instead of run. Kira turns to face her directly. Now you just have to survive what comes next. And if I don't? Then at least you went down fighting. They return to the main chamber. Raphael is cleaning weapons. Dr. Chen is rationing medical supplies. Lucien sleeps fitfully. Celine picks up the Glock, checks the chamber, reloads. The metal feels familiar now, almost comfortable. Kira watches her. Tomorrow we train, real training, not Raphael's basics. What's the difference? Raphael taught you how to survive a fight. I'm going to teach you how to win one. That night, Celine can't sleep. She lies on a cot in the darkness, listening to water drip somewhere in the tunnels, thinking about choices. She could have run, could have taken Vittorio's deal, could have disappeared and started over somewhere far from Raventon City. But she didn't. She chose to stay. Chose Lucien over safety, chose war over peace. The question now is whether that choice kills her. She closes her eyes and sees Damien's face. Hears his voice. You were an asset. Assets expire. Her hands clench. Not anymore. She's not an asset now. She's something he never saw coming. A survivor with nothing left to lose. And that makes her dangerous in ways he never understood. The diesel generator coughs and dies, plunging the chamber into complete darkness. Celine lies there, breathing slowly, feeling her heartbeat strong and steady in her chest. Tomorrow, the war begins for real. Tomorrow, she becomes whoever she needs to be to survive it. And somewhere in the dark, she realizes the terrifying truth. Part of her is looking forward to it. The training starts before dawn. Kira drags Celine out of sleep at 4:30, no coffee, no warmth up, just ice-cold water from the underground stream and a command that cuts through the dark. Get up, we've got work. Celine's body screams protest. Every muscle aches from yesterday's escape. Her ribs throb where Damien broke them weeks ago. The femur Raphael reset still sends lightning through her leg when she puts weight on it wrong. She gets up anyway. Kira leads her through the tunnel system to a chamber carved wider than the rest. Someone, decades ago, used this space for storage. Empty crates line the walls. The ceiling arches 15 feet overhead, slick with moisture. Raphael taught you to shoot, Kira says, stripping off her jacket. That's good. Shooting keeps distance between you and the problem, but distance runs out fast in close quarters. She tosses Celine a training knife, rubber blade, weighted to feel real. This is how people actually die in our world. Not from bullets fired across rooms, from blades in tight spaces, from hands around throats, from violence so close you can smell the other person's fear. Celine catches the knife. Her palm sweats against the grip. Kira circles her, predatory, assessing weak points. You're favoring your left leg. That's a tell. Anyone watching knows where to hit you. It's still healing. Doesn't matter. Pain is just information. You can fight through information. Kira moves. Not fast. Not slow. Just suddenly there. Inside Celine's guard, training knife pressed against her ribs. Dead, Kira says. Celine stumbles back. I wasn't ready. The men hunting you won't wait for ready. Kira resets. Again. They drill for 2 hours. Kira teaches her how to read body language, how shoulders telegraph punches, how eyes flick toward targets before hands move, how breathing changes right before someone attacks. Celine learns by getting hit. A lot. Her nose bleeds, her lip splits. Kira doesn't apologize, doesn't pull punches enough to matter. You're thinking too much, Kira says, after knocking Celine flat for the 7th time. Your brain is trying to process the situation logically. There's no logic in violence, just action and reaction. Celine spits blood. So what do I do? Stop thinking, start reacting. They go again. This time when Kira moves, Celine doesn't think. She sees the shoulder drop, sees the weight shift, and her body responds before her mind catches up. She sidesteps, brings the training knife up, catches Kira across the forearm. Not hard, not perfect, but contact. Kira grins. Better. Do it 1,000 more times and it might save your life. By hour 3, Celine can barely stand. Kira finally calls a break. They sit against the stone wall, sharing water from a canteen that tastes like minerals and rust. Why are you really helping me? Celine asks between gasps. Kira drinks, considering the question. Because you remind me of someone. Who? Me. 13 years ago. She caps the canteen. I was soft once. Believed people were fundamentally good, that the world made sense if you just tried hard enough to understand it. What changed? I got burned, literally. Kira traces the scars on her face. 3 men held me down while a 4th used a blowtorch. They were making a point about disrespect, about knowing my place. Celine's stomach turns. Lucian found me the next day, Kira continues. Killed all 4 of them slowly. Then he told me something I've never forgotten. What? He said the world is full of people who will hurt you if you let them. The only choice you have is whether you become someone who can't be hurt easily. Kira stands. That's what I'm teaching you. How to become someone who's hard to hurt. She extends a hand. Celine takes it. Again, Kira says. They train until Celine's vision blurs from exhaustion. Dequans. Raphael wakes Lucien at noon with news that makes the temperature in the chamber drop. The leak worked. We've got movement on 3 fronts. Contractors closing in. Lucien sits up with visible effort. His left leg still won't respond. Dr. Chen hovers nearby, disapproving but silent. How many? Lucien asks. First group is 12 strong, professional outfit, former military based on their approach patterns. They'll reach the tunnel entrance in approximately 4 hours. Second group, smaller, 6 people, moving slower. Could be opportunists hoping to pick up our trail. And the third, Raphael's expression darkens. Unknown. They're using electronic countermeasures. We can't get a clear read on their numbers or equipment, but they're good, better than the others. Lucien absorbs this. His face gives nothing away, but Celine, standing in the doorway after finishing training, sees tension in the set of his shoulders. We let the first group get close, Lucien says. Thin terrain funnel. Then we hit them hard and fast. With what? Dr. Chen asks. We have 5 people, limited ammunition, and you can barely walk. 4 people, Lucien corrects. You're staying back as medical support. That's an order. Dr. Chen's jaw tightens, but she doesn't argue further. Raphael spreads a hand-drawn map across the crates. The tunnel entrance is here, single access point through the waterfall. We can rig explosives to collapse the entrance after they're inside. That traps us too, Kira points out. There's a secondary exit, north side, comes out near an abandoned mining operation. Raphael traces the route. We funnel them in, engage in the main chamber, then collapse the entrance and escape through the secondary route. They'll expect an ambush, Celine says. Everyone looks at her. She steps closer to the map. These are professionals. They won't just walk into a kill zone. They'll send scouts, test for traps. So what do you suggest? Raphael asks. Not condescending, genuinely curious. Celine studies the map. Thinks about everything Kira taught her. About reading tells, about anticipating movement. We give them what they expect, she says slowly. Make it look like we're fortifying the main chamber. Put obvious defenses in place. Draw their attention there. Then hit them from where? Lucien asks. Celine points to a smaller passage branching off the main tunnel. Here, we hide a strike team in this side passage. Let them move past. Then attack from behind while they're focused forward. Raphael and Kira exchange glances. That could work, Kira admits. It's risky, Raphael adds. If they spot the strike team early, we're fighting on 2 fronts. Every option is risky, Lucien says. The question is which risk we can manage. He looks at Celine. This is your plan. You willing to be on the strike team? Her mouth goes dry. Yes. Then we do it your way. The next 3 hours are controlled chaos. Raphael rigs shaped charges at the main entrance. Kira sets up defensive positions in the main chamber. Sandbags made from supply sacks filled with rocks, makeshift barricades from crates. Enough to look legitimate, but not so much they can't abandon quickly. Celine helps where she can. Carries ammunition, tests sight lines. Tries to ignore the fear building in her chest. Dr. Chen pulls her aside. You don't have to do this. No one would blame you for staying back. I would. Why? You don't owe Lucien anything. He dragged you into this war. Celine thinks about that, about the alley, about Lucien wrapping her in his coat, about the choice to stay instead of run. He gave me a chance to become something other than a victim, she says quietly. I'm not wasting it. Dr. Chen studies her face. Whatever she sees there makes her nod. Then don't die stupidly. I'll do my best. An hour before the contractors arrive, Lucian calls everyone together. He's standing now, barely, using a crutch Raphael fashioned from a piece of rebar and wrapped cloth. The effort of staying upright costs him. Sweat beads his forehead. If this goes wrong, he says, if we get separated or pinned down, the priority is survival, not heroics, not revenge. You get out alive and you regroup. What about you? Kira asks. I'll manage. You can't even walk. Then I'll crawl. His voice hardens. No one plays hero today. We're outgunned and outnumbered. Smart beats brave every single time. Raphael nods. Kira nods. Celine nods. Dr. Chen just looks worried. They move into position. Celine, Kira, and Raphael take the side passage. It's narrow, barely wide enough for single file. The stone walls press close. Water drips from the ceiling, each drop echoing like a countdown. They wait in darkness, weapons ready. Celine's heart hammers. She focuses on her breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth, the way Kira taught her. Footsteps echo from the main tunnel. Professional. Measured. No talking. The contractors enter the tunnel system. Through a crack in the stone, Celine watches them move. 12 men. Tactical gear. Military discipline. They sweep the tunnel systematically, checking corners, using hand signals. They're good. Really good. The lead contractor spots the defenses in the main chamber, raises a fist. The team halts. Celine holds her breath. The lead contractor studies the setup. His head tilts, suspicious. Then he makes a decision. Signals his team forward. They advance toward the main chamber, weapons raised, moving past the side passage where Celine's team hides. Raphael counts silently on his fingers. 3, 2, 1. They burst from cover. Raphael opens fire first. Controlled bursts. 2 contractors drop immediately. The rest scatter, seeking cover. Chaos erupts. Kira moves like violence given form. She closes distance fast, using the confined space to her advantage. Her knife finds throats. Her pistol finds center mass. Celine fires at shadows and shapes. The muzzle flash blinds her. Sound overwhelms her. She can't tell if she's hitting anything. A contractor swings around the corner, raises his weapon toward her. Celine doesn't think. She reacts. Sidesteps. Brings her pistol up. Fires twice. The first shot hits his shoulder. The second hits his chest. He drops. She stares at the body, at the blood spreading across stone. Move, Kira screams. Celine moves. The firefight lasts 90 seconds. When it ends, 10 contractors are down. 2 escape back toward the entrance. Raphael curses. They'll report our position. We need to collapse the entrance now. He runs toward the charges. That's when the world explodes. Not from Raphael's charges. From somewhere deeper in the tunnel system. A massive detonation rocks the limestone foundation. The ceiling cracks. Chunks of rock rain down. Celine throws herself against the wall as a boulder the size of a car crashes where she stood seconds ago. The explosion echoes forever. Then silence. Dust fills the air so thick it's like breathing concrete. Celine coughs, tries to get her bearings. Her ears ring. Blood runs from her nose. Raphael? She calls out. Her voice sounds muffled, distant. No answer. Kira? Movement in the dust. A figure emerges. Kira, bleeding from a gash across her forehead, but alive. What the hell was that? Celine asks. Not our charges. Someone else blew the secondary exit. The realization hits like ice water. They're trapped. Footsteps echo through the settling dust. Multiple people, moving with purpose. The third group, the unknown contractors with electronic countermeasures. They're inside. Kira grabs Celine's arm. We need to fall back, regroup with Lucian. They run through collapsing tunnels. Behind them, the footsteps follow. Not rushing, just methodical, inevitable. They reach the main chamber, find it empty. No Lucian, no Dr. Chen, no Raphael. Just bloodstains on the stone and a discarded crutch. No, Celine whispers. Kira searches frantically. Checks every corner, every shadow. Nothing. They took them, she says. They took them while we were engaged with the first group. Celine's mind races. This wasn't random. This was coordinated. The first group was a distraction. The real threat came from behind. A voice echoes through the chamber, amplified, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Celine Vale, I believe we should talk. The voice is cultured, educated, familiar in a way that makes her skin crawl. Who are you? She shouts into the darkness. A concerned party. Someone with a vested interest in your continued existence. Show yourself. Laughter echoes. I don't think so, but I will offer you a choice. Walk forward, unarmed, alone, or I start executing your friends. Kira grabs Celine's shoulder. Don't. It's a trap. They have Lucien. And if you surrender, they'll have all of us. Celine looks at her, at this woman who's shown her nothing but brutal honesty, who trained her to survive. I'm sorry, Celine says. Then she hits Kira across the temple with her pistol grip. Kira drops. Not dead, just unconscious. Celine sets down her weapons. All of them. Pistol, backup knife, even the razor blade she's been keeping in her boot. She walks forward into darkness. The tunnel opens into a chamber she hasn't seen before. Larger, cathedral-like, lit by battery-powered work lights that turn shadows into geometry. Lucien kneels in the center, hands zip-tied behind his back. Blood runs from his mouth. Dr. Chen kneels beside him, similarly bound. Raphael lies motionless nearby, alive based on the rise and fall of his chest, but unconscious. 6 armed contractors surround them, and standing behind Lucien, holding a pistol to his head, is someone Celine recognizes. Marcus. Hello, Celine, he says. Glad you could join us. Her blood turns to ice. You. Me. Marcus smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. I know, you're shocked, betrayed, wondering how long I've been working against you. Since the beginning. Close. Since about 3 days after you arrived at the estate. He presses the pistol harder against Lucien's skull. See? The karate syndicate made me an offer I couldn't refuse. They wanted intelligence on Lucien's operations. In exchange, they'd let me take over his territory when he was eliminated. Lucien's eyes meet Celine's, no fear in them, just cold calculation. You sold out 15 people, Celine says. Her voice stays steady despite the rage building in her chest. I saved myself, there's a difference. Marcus gestures to the contractors. These fine gentlemen work for Vittorio Karate. They've been tracking us since we left the cabin. I made sure they always knew where to find us. Why tell me this? Because you're the centerpiece. The reason this whole war started. Marcus circles around Lucien. Vittorio wants you alive. Wants to question you personally about Damien's operations. After that, well, I assume you become an example. And Lucien? Dies here. Tonight. Along with Raphael and the good doctor. Marcus aims the pistol. Unless you make this easy. Don't, Lucien says. His first word since Celine entered. Don't give him anything. Marcus hits him across the face with the pistol. Blood sprays. Shut up. You don't get to play noble. Not after dragging everyone into this mess for some woman you barely know. He turns back to Celine. Here's how this works. You come quietly. Answer Vittorio's questions. Cooperate fully. In exchange, I put a bullet in Lucien's brain. Quick, painless. He won't feel it. And if I refuse? Marcus smiles. Then we do this the hard way. Raphael wakes up and watches while we torture Dr. Chen. We make Lucien watch too. We take our time. Days, maybe. And you still end up cooperating eventually because everyone breaks. Celine looks at the people kneeling in front of her. At Lucien, who saved her from dying in an alley. At Dr. Chen, who treated her wounds with clinical precision and hidden kindness. At Raphael, who taught her to fight when she had nothing left. At the family she never asked for but somehow found. Marcus reads her expression. You're thinking about being heroic. Don't. You're unarmed, outnumbered. 1 word from me and 6 rifles turn you into paste. He's right. She has no weapons, no backup, no plan. Just the training Kira beat into her over 6 weeks. Celine takes a breath, meets Marcus's eyes. You made a mistake, she says quietly. What's that? You assumed I'd choose their lives over mine. She sees his confusion, sees him trying to process the statement. That's when she moves, not toward the contractors, toward the work lights. She grabs the nearest one and smashes it. Darkness floods that corner. The contractors react, swinging weapons toward her. She's already moving, grabs a second light, smashes it. Shoot her, Marcus screams. Gunfire erupts. Bullets spark off stone where she stood a heartbeat ago. She kills the third light. Now half the chamber is dark. The contractors fire at shadows, at echoes, at nothing. Celine drops low, moves along the wall. Her hands find what she's looking for, a discarded rifle from one of the contractors killed in the earlier firefight. She brings it up, fires at the remaining lights. The chamber plunges into absolute darkness. Chaos. Contractors shouting, muzzle flashes strobing like lightning, bullets ricocheting wildly. Celine moves through the madness. She learned this from Kira. How to navigate violence. How to become part of it instead of a victim of it. She finds Dr. Chen by sound. The woman's terrified breathing cuts her zip ties with a knife pulled from a dead contractor's belt. Get Raphael, Celine whispers. Get him out. Dr. Chen doesn't argue, just moves. More gunfire. Someone screaming, the sharp crack of bones breaking. Celine's hands find another body. Lucienne. She cuts his restraints. Can you move? Not fast. Fast enough. She hauls him upright. He leans heavy against her. His left leg drags useless. They stumble toward where she remembers the exit being. Lights flare. Someone found a flashlight. The beam catches them, exposes them. Marcus stands in the illumination, pistol raised. Blood runs from his nose. His eyes burn with rage. You stupid bitch, he snarls. You just killed everyone. He aims at Lucienne. Celine doesn't think. She throws herself between them. The gunshot is impossibly loud. Pain explodes through her left side, hot, consuming. She goes down hard. Lucien catches her, tries to hold her upright even though he can barely stand himself. Marcus advances, pistol raised for another shot. Then Kira appears out of the darkness like a demon, blood matting her hair, eyes wild. She moves with terrifying speed. Her knife finds Marcus's throat. He drops, choking, dying. Kira doesn't wait to watch. She grabs Lucien, helps support Celine between them. Raphael appears, conscious now, weapon in hand. Dr. Chen follows. They run. Through collapsing tunnels, over bodies, past contractors trying to regroup in the darkness. The secondary exit is collapsed, blocked by tons of rubble. The main entrance, Raphael gasps. Only way out. They reverse course, moving as fast as Lucien's ruined leg and Celine's bleeding side allow. The contractors pursue. Organized now. Coordinated. They reach the main entrance. Raphael's charges are still in place. Untriggered, he pulls the detonator. When I blow this, we have about 3 seconds to clear the waterfall before everything comes down. That's not enough time, Dr. Chen says. It has to be. Raphael waits, counting contractors by their muzzle flashes, timing the explosion to cause maximum chaos. Now! He screams. He triggers the charges. The world becomes thunder and falling stone. They throw themselves through the waterfall as the tunnel mouth collapses behind them. Rock and water and violence mixing into something apocalyptic. Celine hits the ground outside. Pain whites out her vision. She can't breathe, can't see. Hands grab her, pull her away from the collapsing entrance. When her vision clears, she's lying on cold ground under open sky. Stars overhead. The sound of the waterfall now mixed with grinding rock as the tunnel system tears itself apart. Kira applies pressure to Celine's gunshot wound. Stay with me. Don't you dare die. Celine tries to laugh, tastes blood. Not planning to. Bullet went through, clean exit. Kira's hands work fast. Field dressing, tight bandaging. You'll live. If we can stop the bleeding. Raphael checks on Lucien. Boss? Lucien lies flat on his back, staring at the stars. His face has gone gray. I'm fine, he says. Clearly not fine. Dr. Chen kneels beside him, checks his pulse, his breathing. You're in shock. We need to get you to a hospital. No hospitals, too exposed. Then you need to rest, real rest, or your body will shut down. Around them, the tunnel entrance finishes collapsing. Tons of limestone seal the opening, seal the contractors inside. Silence settles. They survived. Barely. Celine stares at the stars while Kira works on her wound. She thinks about Marcus, about how he smiled while planning to torture people she cares about. She thinks about the look in his eyes when Kira's knife found his throat. She should feel something: guilt, horror, remorse. She feels nothing, just cold satisfaction that he's dead. "We can't stay here," Raphael says. "More contractors will come. The bounty's still active." "Where do we go?" Dr. Chen asks. No one answers, because there is nowhere. No safe houses, no backup crew, no resources. They're alone, wounded, hunted. Lucien closes his eyes. "We end this. No more running, no more surviving. We take the fight to Vittorio Karate and we finish it." "With what?" Raphael's voice cracks. "We have 4 people. You can barely walk." Celine's shot. "We have maybe 24 rounds of ammunition between us." "Then we'll make it enough." "That's suicide." "It's the only option left." Lucien opens his eyes, looks at each of them. "We're dead anyway if we run. Bounties don't expire, contractors don't quit. So we either die hiding or die fighting." Kira meets his gaze. "I'm in." Dr. Chen hesitates, then nods. "Me too." Raphael stares at Lucien for a long moment, then he nods. Everyone looks at Celine. She's bleeding, exhausted. Every muscle screams. Her side feels like fire. She thinks about the alley where this started, about Damien's hands, about cold rain and waiting to die. She thinks about who she was then and who she's become. "I'm in," she says. Lucien nods. "Then we rest tonight. Tomorrow we plan. The day after, we attack." They find shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin 2 miles through the woods. Dr. Chen treats Celine's wound properly. The bullet went through her oblique muscle, painful but not fatal if infection doesn't set in. Lucien's condition worsens through the night. Fever spikes. His breathing becomes labored. Dr. Chen pumps him full of antibiotics, but her supplies are nearly exhausted. "He needs a hospital," she tells Raphael quietly. "His body can't handle much more." "Tell him that." "I did. He told me to focus on Celine." Raphael looks at Lucien's unconscious form. "Stubborn bastard." "He's dying, Raphael, slowly. The spinal injury, the blood loss, the stress. His body is shutting down." "How long?" "Days. Maybe a week if we're lucky." Raphael closes his eyes. "Then we better make those days count." Celine overhears from the next room. Lies in darkness, processing the information. Lucien is dying. The man who saved her is dying, and there's nothing she can do about it. She stares at the ceiling, thinks about choices, about the decision to stay instead of run, about whether that choice was brave or stupid. Can't decide which. Outside, wind howls through the trees. Inside, the hunting cabin creaks and settles. Celine touches the bandage on her side, feels the ache where Marcus's bullet tore through her. She's been shot, beaten, hunted, betrayed, and somehow she's still alive. The question now is what she's willing to do to stay that way. She closes her eyes and tries to sleep. But sleep won't come, because tomorrow they start planning a suicide mission. And she knows, deep in her bones, that not all of them will survive it. Dawn breaks cold and merciless over the hunting cabin. Celine wakes to the sound of retching. She forces herself upright despite the fire in her side and finds Lucien in the bathroom, vomiting blood into the sink. His hands shake so violently he can barely grip the porcelain. Dr. Chen appears, tries to help. He waves her off. "I'm fine," he lies. "You're dying," Dr. Chen says flatly. "Your body is shutting down, organ by organ." Lucien wipes his mouth, meets his reflection in the cracked mirror. The man staring back looks like a corpse already, skin gray, eyes sunken, lips cracked and bleeding. "How long?" he asks. 48 hours, maybe less. "Then we move today." "You can't even stand without—" "I said we move today." His voice carries enough steel to cut through her protest. "Get everyone up. We plan now." Dr. Chen leaves without another word. Celine watches from the doorway. "You should listen to her." "I'm listening. I'm just not obeying." Lucien grips the sink, forces himself upright. His left leg drags completely useless now. Besides, you're one to talk. You got shot yesterday and you're already up. Different kind of wound. All wounds are the same. They either kill you or they don't. He limps past her into the main room. Let's make sure ours don't. They gather around a table made from stacked crates and a piece of plywood. Raphael spreads out a hand-drawn map of Raventon City's waterfront district. Kira checks weapons. Their entire arsenal amounts to 3 pistols, 2 rifles, and maybe 80 rounds total. Not nearly enough. Vittorio Karate operates from a shipping compound here, Raphael says, pointing to a spot on the map. 40-foot walls, guard towers at each corner, single gate in, single gate out, surveillance everywhere. How many guards? Cittadini asks. Minimum 30. Could be 50 if he's called in reinforcements. Raphael marks defensive positions. Machine gun nests here and here, armored vehicle patrol, attack dogs. It's a fortress. Kira lights a cigarette. So we're assaulting a fortress with 4 people and barely enough ammunition for a bar fight. Yes, I love it. Completely insane. Dr. Chen doesn't share the enthusiasm. This is suicide. Even if you somehow breach the compound, you'll never reach Vittorio. He'll be in the command center. Reinforced. Protected. Then we bring the command center down around him, Lucien says. Everyone looks at him. He taps a different section of the map. The compound sits on reclaimed wetland. The foundation is questionable at best. Vittorio's been fighting settlement issues for years. He's got support pylons running under the main building. You want to collapse the structure, Raphael says slowly. I want to turn his fortress into his tomb. Kira leans forward. How? Explosives, placed at key support points. Bring the whole thing down while he's inside. We don't have explosives, Dr. Chen points out. No, but we know someone who does. Lucien looks at Raphael. Your contact, the one who supplies demo equipment. Raphael's expression darkens. Victor? He's not exactly friendly. He's not exactly hostile either. He deals with anyone who pays. We don't have money to pay. Then we'll convince him another way? The unspoken threat hangs heavy. Celine watches this exchange and realizes how far she's fallen into this world. They're discussing murdering a supplier to steal explosives like it's a routine business transaction. And she's not horrified. She's calculating whether it'll work. Victor operates out of a warehouse in the industrial district, Raphael says. 3 guards. Maybe 4. Former military. They won't go down easy. We don't need easy, Kira says. We need fast. They spend 2 hours planning. Every detail, every contingency, who goes where, who handles what, how to move through the warehouse without triggering alarms. Celine listens and learns, asks questions when something doesn't make sense, offers suggestions that get considered seriously instead of dismissed. She's not decoration anymore. She's part of the operation. By mid-morning, they're ready. Raphael checks weapons one final time. Kira gathers tactical gear, black clothes, gloves, balaclavas. Dr. Chen prepares a field medical kit with their remaining supplies. Lucien tries to stand. His leg gives out. He crashes into the wall. No one moves to help him. They all know better. He drags himself upright using the wall for support. Sweat pours down his face. His breathing comes ragged. I'm going, he says before anyone can argue. Boss, Raphael starts. I'm going. End of discussion. They load into a stolen pickup truck, the only vehicle they managed to secure after escaping the tunnels. Celine sits in the back with Kira. Wind cuts through her jacket. The gunshot wound throbs with every bump. She watches Raventon City approach through the morning haze. The skyline looks the same as it did 6 weeks ago when Damien left her dying in an alley. Same buildings, same streets, same indifferent urban sprawl. But she's different, fundamentally, irreversibly different. The woman who married Damien Vale doesn't exist anymore. That woman believed in rules, in fairness, in the idea that suffering had meaning. The woman riding in this truck bed knows better. Suffering is just suffering. Meaning is something you create in the aftermath. Kira nudges her. You ready for this? No? Good. People who think they're ready make mistakes. Kira checks her pistol. Fear keeps you sharp. I'm not afraid. Liar. Kira grins without humor. We're all afraid. The question is whether fear makes you freeze or move. They reach the industrial district just before noon. Raphael parks 3 blocks from Victor's warehouse. They approach on foot, moving through alleys and abandoned lots. The warehouse is exactly what Raphael described. Concrete block building, no windows, single door. Security camera covering the entrance. Camera's on a 15-second sweep, Raphael says, watching through binoculars. We move during the dead zone. They wait. Count seconds. Move. Kira reaches the door first, picks the lock in under 10 seconds. The door swings open silent on oiled hinges. They enter low and fast. The interior is dim. Stacks of crates line the walls. Industrial shelving reaches toward a ceiling lost in shadow. The smell of oil and rust hangs thick. A guard appears from behind a crate. Young, maybe 25. He opens his mouth to shout. Kira's knife finds his throat before sound emerges. He drops, choking, dying quietly. Celine watches without flinching. They move deeper into the warehouse, find the second guard smoking near the loading dock. Raphael takes him with a suppressed pistol. 2 shots, center, mass. The body crumples. 3 down, Kira whispers. 1 to go. They search the warehouse systematically, checking corners, clearing rooms, find Victor in an office at the back. Big man, 50s, covered in prison tattoos. He's counting money when they enter. Looks up, sees 4 armed people. His hand moves toward a shotgun leaning against the desk. Don't, Raphael says, pistol aimed steady. Victor freezes, assesses the situation. Sees Lucien leaning against the doorframe, barely able to stand. Sees Celine with her amateur grip on a pistol. Sees Kira with blood on her knife. Rafael Torres, Victor says in accented English. Heard you were dead. Heard wrong. And Lucien Moretti. Victor's eyes narrow. You look like shit. I've had a rough week. Lucien limps into the office. We need explosives, shaped charges, detonators, everything you've got. That's not how this works. You know the rules. Cash up front. Rules changed. Victor laughs. It's not a pleasant sound. You think you can rob me? In my warehouse with 4 people? Yes. The certainty in Lucien's voice makes Victor pause. You're dying, Victor observes, which makes me dangerous. I've got nothing to lose and 48 hours to live. I will burn this warehouse down with both of us inside if you don't give me what I need. Victor studies Lucien's face, sees truth there. Why should I believe you? Because you're smart enough to recognize desperation. Lucien moves closer. Each step costs him. I'm going to war with the karate syndicate. Win or lose, I'm dead by Friday. But if I win, I take out the biggest criminal organization on the East Coast. That's a power vacuum you could fill. Victor's expression shifts, calculation replacing amusement. You really think you can take down Vittorio? I know I can, if I have the right tools. Silence stretches. Then Victor stands, walks to a locked cabinet, opens it. Inside are enough explosives to level a city block. Take what you need, he says. Consider it an investment in future business opportunities. Kira starts loading shaped charges into a duffel bag. Raphael grabs detonators and timers. Celine packs date cord and blasting caps. Victor watches. You're going to die, Lucien. I know. Then why fight? Lucien looks at Celine, at Raphael, at Kira, at the people who stayed when everyone else ran. Because some things are worth dying for. They leave the warehouse loaded with enough explosives to accomplish what they need. Victor doesn't try to stop them, just watches from the office window as they disappear into the industrial maze. Back in the truck, Raphael drives while Kira inventories their haul. 12 shaped charges, 20 meters of diet cord, 6 wireless detonators. This is good. This could work. Could, Dr. Chen mutters from the passenger seat. Emphasis on could. They return to the hunting cabin, spend the afternoon rigging charges and planning approach vectors. Lucien works despite his deteriorating condition. Sweat soaks through his shirt. His hands shake so badly, Kira has to wire the detonators, but his mind stays sharp. He diagrams attack patterns, identifies weak points in the compound's defenses, assigns roles with tactical precision. Celine, you're with me, he says. Everyone stops working. Boss, with respect, you can barely walk, Raphael says. Taking her into the command center is necessary. Vittorio wants her alive. That's leverage we can use. Leverage that gets her killed. Everything gets us killed. This way we control how. Lucian looks at Celine. You okay with this? She should say no, should refuse to be used as bait. Instead, she nods. Good. Raphael and Kira handle the demolition. Plant charges at the support pylons. Dr. Chen stays with the vehicle. Extraction point is the north dock. And if extraction fails, Dr. Chen asks, then you drive away and don't look back. The words settle like lead. They eat a final meal together. Canned soup heated over a camping stove. Nobody's hungry, but everyone forces it down. Fuel for what's coming. Night falls. They prepare in silence. Check weapons. Test communications. Kira braids Celine's hair back tight so it won't obscure vision during a fight. You scared? Kira asks quietly. Terrified. Good. Use it. Kira ties off the braid. Fear is just adrenaline looking for direction. Celine touches the bandage on her side. The gunshot wound has stopped bleeding, but infection is setting in despite antibiotics. She can feel fever building in her system. She's fighting on borrowed time, just like Lucien. And they load into the truck at midnight, drive through empty streets toward the waterfront. Raventon City sleeps around them, oblivious to the war about to erupt in its industrial heart. Celine watches buildings slide past, thinks about Damien, about their wedding day, about how she promised to love and honor him, about how those promises meant nothing when she became inconvenient. She touches the pistol in her lap, checks the chamber for the 100th time, locked and loaded, ready. They park 6 blocks from the compound, approach on foot through abandoned warehouses and shipping yards. The waterfront smells like oil and rotting fish and industrial decay. The karate compound rises ahead, 40-foot concrete walls topped with razor wire. Floodlights turn night into day. Guard towers visible at each corner, a fortress. Remember the plan, Lucien. It says, his voice barely carries. Raphael and Kira go in first, plant the charges. We wait for their signal before approaching the main gate. And if they don't signal, Celine asks, then we adapt. Raphael and Kira disappear into the shadows, moving with practiced silence toward the compound's eastern wall. Celine and Lucien wait in the shell of a burned-out warehouse. Dr. Chen stays with the truck, engine running, ready for extraction. Minutes crawl past. Lucien's breathing grows increasingly labored. He leans against a concrete pillar, conserving strength. Blood seeps through his shirt where his surgical wound has reopened. You should have stayed behind, Celine whispers. Probably. So why didn't you? He looks at her. Even dying, his eyes stay sharp. Because I started this when I picked you up in that alley. I'm going to finish it. You didn't start anything. Damien did. Vittorio did. I did by staying. No. You survived by staying. There's a difference. The radio crackles. Raphael's voice comes through distorted. Charges placed. Moving to secondary positions. You're clear for approach. Lucien keys the mic. Copy. Moving now. They emerge from cover, cross open ground toward the compound's main gate. Floodlights swing toward them, pin them in harsh illumination. Speakers crackle to life. Stop. Hands where we can see them. Celine and Lucien raise their hands. Lucien barely manages. His left arm shakes with effort. The gate grinds open. 6 armed guards emerge, professional, cautious, weapons trained steady. Lucien Moretti, the lead guard says. And Celine Vale. Vittorio's been expecting you. I'm sure he has, Lucien replies. They're searched, stripped of weapons. Celine loses 3 pistols, 2 knives, and the razor blade in her boot. Lucien loses an arsenal, guns she didn't even know he was carrying. The guards find the fever in Celine's system, the blood soaking through Lucien's bandages. They're half dead already, one guard mutters. Good. Saves us the effort. They're marched through the compound, past shipping containers stacked 3 high, past armed patrols and attack dogs straining at leashes, past industrial equipment and forklifts and all the legitimate facade hiding criminal operations. The command center sits at the compound's heart. 3-story concrete building, reinforced windows, Multiple entry points covered by overlapping fields of fire. They enter through the main door. Inside, the building hums with activity. Men move between rooms carrying documents and weapons. Computer screens glow in darkened offices. Radio chatter fills the air. They're led upstairs, down a corridor lined with guards, through a heavy door into a spacious office overlooking the compound. Vittorio Carrati waits behind a mahogany desk. He's smaller than Celine expected, mid-60s, gray hair slicked back, expensive suit, manicured hands folded on the desk. He looks like a banker, like someone who's never seen violence firsthand. His eyes tell a different story, cold, calculating, dead in a way that suggests he's comfortable with cruelty. Lucien Moretti, Vittorio says. His voice carries a slight Italian accent. You look terrible. You should see the other guy. Vittorio smiles without warmth. I have. Marcus provided excellent intelligence before his unfortunate death. Unfortunate for him. Indeed. Vittorio's eyes shift to Celine. And you must be the woman who started this war. Damien Vale's widow, the liability that became a catalyst. Celine says nothing, just stares. Vittorio stands, circles the desk, moves closer. I offered you a deal, information for immunity. You refused. That was foolish. I don't make deals with people who torture for fun. Torture? Vittorio sounds genuinely puzzled. I don't torture for fun. I torture for information. There's a difference. Business versus pleasure. You're a monster. I'm a businessman. Monsters lack control. He stops inches from her face. I built an empire from nothing. I provide services people need, employment, security, order, and chaos. What I do isn't pretty, but it's necessary. You murdered 15 people. I eliminated threats to my operation. Those people died because Lucien made poor strategic decisions. Their blood is on his hands, not mine. Lucien laughs. It's a wet, painful sound. Keep telling yourself that. Vittorio turns. You have something to say? Yeah, you talk too much. Lucien's hand moves toward his pocket. Guards react instantly, weapons raised, safeties clicking off. Lucien freezes, slowly withdraws his hand holding a phone. Relax, just checking the time. Why? Because in about 90 seconds, your entire compound is going to collapse. Vittorio's expression doesn't change. Bluffing. Am I? Lucien shows him the phone screen. A countdown timer. 1 minute, 15 seconds remaining. Vittorio's calm cracks. What did you do? Shaped charges. Placed at every support pylon holding up this building. When that timer hits 0, the foundation fails. This entire structure pancakes. Lucien's smile is terrible, and everyone inside dies. Vittorio moves to the window, looks down at the compound, sees Raphael and Kira fighting their way toward the gate, surrounded by guards, pinned down but fighting, sees the flash of detonators being armed. Stop them, Vittorio screams. Kill them! Kill everyone! Chaos erupts. Guards pour out of the building, racing toward Raphael and Kira's position. Gunfire erupts across the compound. The timer hits 1 minute. Vittorio turns back to Lucien, pistol drawn. Give me the detonator code. No, I'll kill you. I'm already dead. You're just speeding up the timeline. Vittorio aims at Celine instead. Then I'll kill her. Go ahead. She's the one who planned this. Celine meets Vittorio's eyes, sees him trying to determine if Lucien's bluffing. She smiles. 45 seconds. Vittorio's control shatters. He grabs Celine, pistol pressed to her temple. Stop the countdown or she dies. Lucien shrugs. She's not afraid of dying. Are you, Celine? The question hangs in air thick with tension. Celine thinks about the alley, about rain and broken ribs, about choosing to become someone who couldn't be hurt easily. No, she says clearly. I'm not afraid. Vittorio's hand shakes. You're both insane. Probably. 30 seconds. Vittorio makes a decision, shoves Celine toward guards. Get them out! Get everyone out! Evacuate the building! Pandemonium. People running, sirens wailing, alarms screaming. Celine and Lucien are dragged toward the stairs. The guards half carry Lucien. He can't move fast enough on his ruined leg. They burst outside into chaos. The compound is a war zone. Raphael and Kira have seized a machine gun position. They lay down devastating fire across the yard. Bodies litter the ground. The attack dogs are dead or dying. Guards scatter, some toward the fight, some toward the gate, some just running blind. 20 seconds. Celine's guard loosens his grip for 1 second, looking toward the gunfire. Distracted. She drives her elbow into his throat. He staggers. She grabs his sidearm, fires 3 times, center mass. He drops. Lucien takes advantage of the chaos, headbutts his guard. The man's nose explodes. Lucien steals his weapon, shoots him execution style. They run. Not toward the gate. Toward Raphael and Kira's position. 10 seconds. Raphael, Lucien screams, blow it now! Raphael sees them coming, makes a decision, triggers the detonators early. The shaped charges explode simultaneously. Not loud, just focused blasts of force that shear through concrete and steel support pylons like they're paper. For 1 heartbeat, nothing happens. Then physics takes over. The command center building groans, a sound like the earth crying out. The foundation fails. The structure begins collapsing in on itself, pancaking exactly like Lucien predicted. 40 tons of concrete and steel crushing down. Men still inside scream. The sound cuts off as they're pulverized. The collapse creates a shockwave, dust and debris exploding outward. Celine throws herself flat as chunks of concrete sail overhead. When the dust settles, the command center is gone, reduced to rubble, a tomb for everyone who didn't evacuate fast enough, including Vittorio Carrati. Celine pushes herself upright. Her ears ring. Blood runs from her nose. The gunshot wound in her side has torn open. She can feel warmth spreading across her ribs. She finds Lucien 10 feet away, lying face down, not moving. No. She crawls to him, rolls him over. His eyes are open. Blood bubbles at his lips. The collapse threw him hard into something unforgiving. Lucien, stay with me. He tries to speak. Can't. Raphael and Kira reach them. Kira's bleeding from a dozen places. Raphael's left arm hangs useless. We need to move, Raphael gasps. Reinforcements are coming. He can't move, Celine says. Then we carry him. They haul Lucien upright. He's dead weight, barely breathing. They half drag, half carry him toward the shattered gate. Gunfire erupts behind them. Remaining guards regrouping, trying to cut off their escape. Kira returns fire, drops 2, 3. Her rifle clicks empty. She draws a pistol, keeps firing. They reach the gate. The truck screeches up, Dr. Chen at the wheel, passenger door flying open. They throw Lucien in back, pile in after him. Dr. Chen floors the accelerator before the doors even close. The truck tears through waterfront streets, gunfire chasing them, bullets punching through the tailgate. They take corners at speed that should flip the vehicle. Dr. Chen drives like she's possessed, racing away from the compound, away from the collapsing karate empire. In the truck bed, Celine applies pressure to Lucien's chest. Blood soaks through her hands. His breathing comes shallow and wet. Stay with me, she whispers. Don't you dare die now, not after everything. His hand finds hers, squeezes weakly. Kira collapses against the side of the truck, bleeding, exhausted. Did we win? I don't know, Raphael says. But Celine knows. Vittorio Carrati is dead, crushed under tons of rubble. The command center is destroyed. The syndicate is leaderless. They won, at least for tonight. The cost is still being calculated. Dr. Chen drives them north, out of the city, into darkness and uncertainty and whatever comes next. Behind them, Raventon City's waterfront burns. Sirens wail. Emergency vehicles converge on the compound. News helicopters circle the destruction. The Karate Syndicate's fortress is rubble, and buried somewhere beneath it lies the man who tried to make Celine Vale disappear. She presses her bloody hands against Lucien's chest and feels his heartbeat. Weak, irregular, but still beating. For now, that's enough. The truck disappears into the night, carrying 5 broken people toward an uncertain dawn. The safe house sits 40 miles outside Raventon City, hidden among pine forests that stretch toward the Canadian border. It's nothing more than a converted hunting lodge. Rotting wood siding, a roof that leaks when it rains, no heat except a wood-burning stove that smokes when the wind shifts wrong. But it's standing. and it's far from the waterfront carnage they left behind. Dr. Chen works on Lucian by lantern light, her hands moving with desperate precision. The collapse threw him into a steel support beam. Internal bleeding, possible skull fracture. His left lung collapsed sometime during the extraction. Celine watches from the corner, applying pressure to her own reopened gunshot wound. The bandage is soaked through. She needs stitches, needs antibiotics, needs rest. She'll get none of those things until Lucian stabilizes. His pressure's dropping, Dr. Chen says. Her voice carries the flat tone of someone preparing for the worst. I can't stop the internal bleeding without proper surgical equipment. So improvise, Raphael snaps. He's standing guard at the window, rifle braced against his good shoulder. The left arm hangs useless, shattered during the firefight. I'm not a trauma surgeon working in a field hospital. I'm a general practitioner with a medical bag and a prayer. Dr. Chen's hands don't stop moving even as she speaks. He needs a hospital, real doctors, real equipment. Hospital means questions, Kira says from where she's cleaning her rifle. Blood mats her hair. A bullet grazed her scalp during the escape. Questions mean police. Police mean federal investigation. Then he dies here. The words settle like lead. Celine pushes off the wall, crosses to the makeshift surgical table, really just a door laid across sawhorses. Lucian's face has gone beyond gray into something approaching translucent. His breathing stutters and catches. What are his chances? She asks. Dr. Chen doesn't look up. Without surgery, 10%, maybe less. And with surgery? 50-50. If we can get him to a facility within the hour, Celine looks at Raphael, at Kira, at the two people who fought beside her through hell and back. We take him to a hospital, she says. That's suicide, Raphael replies. The moment we walk through those doors, every cop in the state converges on our position. Then we don't walk through the front doors. Everyone stops, looks at her. Celine moves to the table where their remaining supplies are scattered, grabs Dr. Chen's phone, the only one they kept after destroying everything else. There's a private medical facility 15 miles south. Damien used it for executives who needed discreet treatment. Her fingers move across the screen, pulling up information from memory. 24-hour staff, minimal security. They ask questions only if you can't pay. You can access Damien's accounts, Kira asks. I still have his banking passwords. He never changed them after he tried to kill me. Celine's smile is bitter. Arrogant bastard, never thought I'd survive long enough to use them. She pulls up Damien's primary account. The balance makes her breath catch. $47 million. Money built on surveillance technology sold to criminals. Money stained with blood and betrayal. Money that should disgust her. Instead, she transfers $5 million to an anonymous account, writes down the routing numbers. This buys his surgery, she says, handing the paper to Dr. Chen. And your silence. Dr. Chen stares at the numbers. This is insane. This is survival. Celine looks at Lucian's dying form. We didn't come this far to lose him now. They load Lucien into the truck with agonizing care. Every movement threatens to finish what the collapse started. Dr. Chen rides in back, monitoring his vitals, ready to perform CPR if his heart stops. Raphael drives. Kira navigates. Celine sits in the passenger seat, watching the dark road unspool ahead. Her side throbs. Infection is spreading despite antibiotics. She can feel fever building in her system, turning her thoughts fuzzy and slow. She closes her eyes, sees the command center collapsing, sees Vittorio's face as he realized he was about to die, sees the guards crushed under tons of concrete. She should feel something: horror, guilt, remorse. She feels nothing except grim satisfaction. They're dead. She's alive. That's the only math that matters. The medical facility appears through the trees. Modern building, discreet signage, expensive cars in the parking lot belonging to people who value privacy over transparency. Raphael parks at the emergency entrance. They carry Lucien inside. A nurse appears. Young. Competent. Her eyes take in the blood, the injuries, the barely conscious man between them. What happened? She asks. Construction accident, Celine lies smoothly. Collapsed scaffolding. He needs surgery immediately. The nurse hesitates, sees something in Celine's eyes that makes her nod. I'll get the doctor. Within 10 minutes, Lucien's in surgery. The doctor, an older man with steady hands and the kind of face that's seen everything, doesn't ask questions, just takes the account information Celine provides and gets to work. They wait in a private room. Dr. Chen finally tends to Celine's gunshot wound, reopens it, cleans it properly, stitches it closed with precise sutures that pull tight against infected tissue. You should have said something earlier, Dr. Chen mutters. I was busy. You were stubborn. There's a difference. She ties off the final stitch. This needs antibiotics, real ones, not the expired field medicine we've been using. Add it to the bill. Dr. Chen moves to Raphael next. His shattered arm requires a splint and immobilization. Kira's scalp wound gets cleaned and bandaged. By the time Dr. Chen finishes, dawn light filters through the windows. They sit in silence, exhausted, broken, waiting. The surgeon emerges 3 hours later. His scrubs are blood-stained. His expression is unreadable. He's alive, he says. Celine's breath catches. And? The internal bleeding is stopped, lung reinflated, skull fracture was minor. He's critical but stable. The surgeon pulls off his latex gloves. However, the spinal injury is worse than initial scans indicated. The bullet wound near his L2 vertebra caused significant nerve damage. Combined with the trauma from the collapse, English, Raphael says, he's paralyzed from the waist down, permanently. The words hit like a physical blow. Celine thinks about Lucien, about the way he moved with absolute confidence, about his control, his power, everything he built on being someone people feared. Can he talk? She asks. Yes. Can he think? His cognitive function is intact. Then he's alive enough to decide what comes next. The surgeon nods slowly. He's in recovery. You can see him in an hour. They wait. Raphael paces. Kira sleeps sitting up, rifle across her lap. Dr. Chen makes phone calls, arranging ongoing care, burning through Damien's money like it's nothing. Celine stares out the window at Raventon City's skyline, visible in the distance. Smoke still rises from the waterfront district. News helicopters circle the destruction. Her phone buzzes. A news alert. Waterfront massacre, karate syndicate compound destroyed. Death toll estimated at 40, Vittorio Karate among the dead. She reads the article. Federal investigators are calling it gang warfare. Organized crime turning on itself. The mayor promises a full investigation. The police commissioner vows to clean up the city. Empty promises. Political theater. Nothing will change, except for the power vacuum where Vittorio's empire used to be. The nurse appears. He's asking for you, all of you. They follow her to recovery. Lucien lies in a hospital bed, tubes running from his arms, monitors beeping steady rhythm. His eyes are open, alert, taking in his condition with the same calculation he applies to everything. How bad? He asks. His voice is rough but clear. Raphael doesn't sugarcoat. Paralyzed, waist down, permanent. Lucien absorbs this, nods once. Vittorio? Dead. Crushed when the command center collapsed. His son, Dante, escaped. We confirmed sightings near the Canadian border. Lucien's jaw tightens. Then it's not over. Boss, Raphael starts. It's not over. Lucien repeats. Dante will rebuild, consolidate what's left, come back stronger and meaner. He looks at each of them. We bought time, not victory. Kira leans against the wall. So what's the play? There is no play. Not for me. Lucien's hand moves to the blanket covering his useless legs. I'm done. Finished. You can't run an empire from a wheelchair. People have done it before, Celine says quietly. Not in this world. This world respects strength, fears violence. I've got neither anymore. He meets her eyes. But you do. Everyone goes still. What are you saying? Celine asks. I'm saying you take over. You and Raphael and Kira. You rebuild what Vittorio destroyed. You fill the vacuum before someone worse does. That's insane. It's practical. You've got Damien's money. You've got his information. You've got connections he built over a decade. Lucien's expression doesn't change. And you've got something more valuable than any of that. What? You've got nothing left to lose. That makes you dangerous in ways people like Vittorio never understood. Celine thinks about this. About the woman she was 6 weeks ago, the woman who believed in rules and fairness and justice. That woman is dead. The woman standing in this recovery room understands power, understands violence, understands that survival sometimes means becoming the monster. I don't want an empire, she says. Neither did I. But I built one anyway because someone had to. Lucien's eyes hold hers. This city needs order, structure, rules that keep the worst impulses in check. If you don't provide that, someone like Vittorio will. Or someone like Dante, Raphael adds. Silence stretches. Celine looks at the people around her, at Raphael with his shattered arm, at Kira with blood in her hair, at Dr. Chen, who's compromised every principle to keep them alive, at Lucien dying by degrees in a hospital bed, her family, whether she wanted them or not. I'll think about it, she finally says. Lucien nods. That's all I ask. They leave him to rest. Return to the waiting room where morning light streams through windows. Dr. Chen disappears to arrange transportation. Kira goes to scout the perimeter. Raphael stays with Celine. You're actually considering this, he says. Maybe. Running a criminal empire isn't like surviving one. It's meetings and negotiations and violence when negotiation fails. It's becoming the person people fear. Raphael lights a cigarette despite the no smoking signs. You sure that's who you want to be? Celine thinks about Damien beating her in an alley, about Vittorio's cold calculation, about Marcus selling them out, about every person who tried to make her disappear because she knew too much or survived too long. I don't know who I want to be, she admits, but I know who I won't be. I won't be the woman waiting to die in someone else's alley. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. They sit in silence for a while, sharing the cigarette, watching smoke curl toward the ceiling. If you do this, Raphael says eventually, I'm with you, all the way. Why? Because Lucien saved me when I had nothing, gave me purpose when I was drowning. I owe him everything. Raphael crushes the cigarette under his boot. Helping you is how I pay that debt. Kira returns. Here's the last part of the conversation. I'm in too, she says. Not for Lucien. For you. Why me? Because you remind me that soft doesn't mean weak, that surviving doesn't require becoming completely hard. Kira's scarred face catches the morning light. The world needs people who can be both. Celine looks at them, these damaged, dangerous, impossibly loyal people. Okay, she says, but we do this different. No human trafficking, no targeting civilians, no unnecessary violence. Those were Lucien's rules, Raphael points out. Now they're mine. 3 months later, Celine stands in a penthouse overlooking Raventon City. Floor-to-ceiling windows show the skyline glittering in afternoon rain. The same rain that soaked her the night Damien left her to die. But she's not dying anymore. She's thriving. Damien's 47 million became 80 million, became 120 million. Invested carefully. Laundered thoroughly. Used to build legitimate businesses that hide criminal operations underneath. She didn't want an empire, but she built one anyway. Lucien was right. The city needed order, structure. Someone to fill the vacuum Vittorio left behind. So she filled it. Raphael handles security. Kira manages enforcement. Dr. Chen runs medical operations for people who can't risk hospitals. And Celine sits at the center. Making decisions, negotiating treaties, eliminating threats when negotiation fails. She's good at it, better than she ever imagined. The woman who married Damien Vale couldn't have done this. That woman believed in justice, in fairness, in the idea that suffering should have meaning. This woman knows better. Suffering is just suffering. Justice is what you make when the system fails. And fairness is a luxury people like her can't afford. Her phone rings. Raphael. We've got movement on Dante Karate, confirmed sighting in Miami, building a crew, talking about coming north. Let him talk. When he moves, we'll be ready. You sure? He's got resources. Connections his father built. So do I. And I've got something he doesn't. What's that? Celine looks at her reflection in the window, sees someone hard and sharp and dangerous. I've got nothing left to lose. She hangs up, returns to the window. Rain lashes the glass. The city spreads below her like a circuit board. Millions of lights. Millions of lives. most of them unaware that someone like her exists, someone who controls the shadows they walk through. The door opens. Kira enters carrying a folder. The quarterly reports, revenues up 18%, no major incidents, the crews are stable. Celine takes the folder without opening it. And Lucien? Stable, recovering. He's been asking when you're going to visit. Soon. You said that last month. I mean it this time. Kira doesn't believe her, but doesn't push. There's something else. A message came through one of our channels. Anonymous. Asking for you specifically. About what? Didn't say. Just asked if you were accepting new clients. Kira hands over a second piece of paper. I ran background. She's legitimate. Married to a tech executive. Rich. Connected. No criminal history. Celine reads the name. Feels something shift in her chest. The woman's story is familiar. Husband with a temper. Bruises hidden under expensive makeup. Friends who don't ask questions. A life that looks perfect from outside while rotting from within. Set up a meeting, Celine says. You sure? We don't usually deal with domestic situations. Make an exception. Kira nods and leaves. Celine returns to the window. Thinks about alleys and rain. About choosing to survive instead of die. About becoming someone she never intended to be. She thinks about the woman reaching out for help. About whether she'll save her or doom her. Doesn't know the answer yet. But she knows one thing. No one else will die in Lucian's territory the way she almost did. No one else will be left broken and bleeding because they became inconvenient. That's the rule she lives by now. The only rule that matters. A week later, Celine visits Lucian. He's set up in a private facility overlooking the Atlantic. The same cliffs where his estate used to stand before the karate syndicate burned it down. He's in a wheelchair, working on a laptop, managing what remains of his old operations. You look good, he says when she enters. You're a liar. Maybe. But you do look different. Harder. Celine sits across from him, studies his face. He's thinner, grayer, but his eyes stay sharp. I took your advice, she says. Took over. Built something. I know. I've been watching. He closes the laptop. You're doing well. Better than I did at the start. That's because I learned from your mistakes. Such as? Trusting the wrong people. Letting sentiment cloud judgment. Believing loyalty means more than it does. She meets his eyes. Marcus taught me that lesson. Marcus was an anomaly. Marcus was human, and humans betray when the price is right. Celine leans back. I don't make that mistake anymore. Lucien nods slowly. You've become what you needed to become. I'm not sure if I should be proud or sorry. Be neither. You gave me a choice. I made it. The consequences are mine. They sit in silence for a while, watching waves crash against the cliffs through the window. The same view Celine watched while recovering from her own injuries months ago. There's something I need to tell you, Lucian says eventually. What? The night I found you in that alley. It wasn't random. I was there because someone told me to be. Celine goes still. Explain. Damien had a partner, someone who worked with him on the karate syndicate deals, someone who knew he was planning to kill you. Lucian's expression doesn't change. That person contacted me, told me where you'd be, what time, what condition. Who? Lucian pulls out a phone, shows her a photograph. Celine stares at the image, feels her world tilt. The person in the photograph is Dr. Chen. No, Celine whispers. She worked for Damien, handled his medical operations, treated people who couldn't risk hospitals. She knew about the syndicate, about the surveillance technology, about everything. Why would she help me? Help, because Damien was going to kill her too. She knew too much, just like you. She figured if you survived, you'd take Damien down, and she was right. Celine's mind races. Every interaction with Dr. Chen replays a new context, the clinical detachment, the knowledge of criminal operations, the way she never seemed surprised by violence. Does she know you told me? No, and I'm not going to tell her unless you want me to. Lucien meets her eyes. What you do with this information is your choice, but you deserve to know the truth. Celine stands, walks to the window, processes. Dr. Chen saved her life multiple times, treated her injuries, fought beside her, but she also manipulated her, used her as a weapon against Damien, set events in motion that led to dozens of deaths. What would you do? Celine asks. I'd eliminate the threat. But I'm not you. No, you're not. Celine thinks about this, about trust and betrayal, about the fact that everyone in her life has used her for something. Damien used her as decoration, as an asset that eventually expired. Lucien used her as a second chance, as redemption for the sister he couldn't save. Dr. Chen used her as a weapon, as the catalyst that would destroy Damien. And she used all of them back. Used Lucien's protection, used Raphael's training, used Kira's lessons, used Damien's money. Everyone uses everyone. That's how this world works. The question is whether you can live with it. I'm keeping her, Celine says finally. But she doesn't get to know that I know. Not yet. Why? Because useful people stay useful until they're not. That's what Damien taught me. That's what you taught me. That's what this whole nightmare taught me. She turns from the window, looks at Lucien in his wheelchair, at the man who saved her and manipulated her in equal measure. Thank you, she says, for everything, for the truth, for the lies, for making me into someone who could survive all of it. You did that yourself. Maybe, but you gave me the tools. She leaves without looking back, returns to her penthouse, to her empire, to the life she built from blood and ashes. Dr. Chen is waiting in her office, looking concerned. You okay? Kira said you went to see Lucien. I'm fine, just checking on him. Celine sits behind her desk, studies Dr. Chen's face, looking for tells, for cracks, finds nothing. The woman is a perfect mask, just like Celine has become. There's a new client coming tomorrow, Celine says. Domestic situation. I want you there when I meet her. Why? Because I might need medical expertise. And because I trust you. The lie tastes like ash. But Dr. Chen smiles, believes it. Of course. Whatever you need. She leaves. Celine sits alone in her office, looks at the city spreading below her, at the empire she never wanted but built anyway. She thinks about the woman she was, and the woman she's become. Somewhere between those two people, something essential died. Something soft and trusting and naive. She doesn't mourn it. That part of her was weak, vulnerable, easy to hurt. This part of her is steel. 6 months after the alley, Celine stands in a cemetery under gray sky. Rain threatens but hasn't fallen yet. She's alone except for security watching from a distance. The grave she's visiting belongs to Damien Vale. Someone put up an expensive headstone, probably his company, probably his board trying to memorialize a man they thought they knew. They didn't know him at all. Celine stares at the stone, at the dates marking his birth and death, at the inscription about being a visionary and leader. All lies. You didn't destroy me, she says quietly. You created someone you would have feared. The words echo what she thought months ago, but now they carry different weight, because she's not just someone Damien would have feared. She's someone who's surpassed him. His empire was built on secrets and surveillance, on selling technology to criminals while pretending to be legitimate. Her empire is built on honesty about what it is, on rules that prevent the worst excesses, on being the monster openly instead of hiding behind respectability. She's more powerful than Damien ever was, and she did it by becoming exactly what he tried to destroy, a survivor who refused to stay destroyed. Celine turns from the grave, walks away without looking back. The rain starts as she reaches her car, heavy drops that soak through her clothes in seconds. She doesn't run, doesn't hurry, just walks through the downpour the same way she walked through the alley 6 months ago. Except this time, she's not bleeding. She's not dying. She's not waiting for someone to save her. She saved herself. And that makes all the difference. 1 year later, the penthouse has changed. New furniture, new art. The same view, but seen through different eyes. Celine sits at her desk reviewing reports. Raphael's security assessment, Kira's enforcement update, Dr. Chen's medical operations summary. Everything runs smoothly, efficiently, like a machine she designed and maintains. The door opens. A woman enters. Young, nervous, expensive clothes that can't hide the bruise on her wrist. The new client. Celine gestures to a chair. Sit. Tell me your story. The woman sits. Her hands shake. My husband. He's been hurting me. For years. I tried to leave, but he's powerful. Connected. He threatened to take my children if I reported him. What's his name? The woman tells her. Celine recognizes it. Tech executive, board member at 3 Fortune 500 companies. The kind of man who thinks money buys immunity. What do you want from me? Celine asks. I want him to stop. I want to be free. I want my children safe. Tears run down the woman's face. I want him to feel what I've felt. Celine understands that desire, that need for someone else to experience the fear and pain they inflicted. She felt it about Damien, still feels it sometimes in the dark. I can help you, she says, but there's a price. I'll pay anything. Not money, information. You work for me after this. You use your position, your connections. You become my eyes and ears in places I can't reach. The woman hesitates, realizes what's being asked. You're asking me to become like you. No, I'm asking you to survive. What you become after that is your choice. The woman wipes tears, nods. Okay, I'll do it. Celine picks up her phone, calls Raphael. I'm sending you a name. I want everything on him. Financials, associates, weaknesses, everything. She hangs up, looks at the woman across from her. Go home. Act normal. In 3 days, your husband will receive a message. A reminder that powerful men are still just men, and men can bleed. The woman stands, stops at the door. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You haven't seen what I'm going to do. The woman leaves. Celine returns to the window, watches rain stream down glass. The city glitters below her, indifferent, eternal. She thinks about choices, about the moment she decided to stay instead of run, about every decision that followed. She wonders sometimes what her life would have looked like if she'd taken Vittorio's deal, if she'd disappeared, started over somewhere far from Raventon City, wonders if she'd be happier, safer, more herself. But that version of events feels like fiction now, like something that happened to someone else in a different life. This is who she is. This is who she chose to become. And she's not sure anymore if that's tragic or triumphant. Maybe it's both. Maybe that's what survival looks like. Her phone rings. Kira. Dante Karate's making his move. He's assembled a crew in Miami. Intelligence suggests he's planning to hit our operations within the month. Let him come. You sure? Celine looks at her reflection in the window, sees someone hard and sharp and ready. I'm sure. We'll be waiting. She hangs up. Outside, the rain continues. The city continues. Life continues. And Celine Vale, once left to die in an alley, once beaten and broken and discarded, stands in a penthouse overlooking everything she conquered. She thinks about Lucian's words. Some things are worth dying for. She's not sure she agrees anymore, because she's learned something more important. Some things are worth living for, worth fighting for, worth becoming a monster to protect. And she'll do whatever it takes to keep them, no matter the cost, no matter who she has to become. That's the choice she made in the alley. That's the choice she makes every day since. Survival. On her terms. In her city. With her rules. And anyone who tries to take that from her will learn the same lesson Damien learned. The same lesson Vittorio learned. The same lesson Dante will learn. She doesn't die easy. And she doesn't forgive. Celine turns from the window, returns to her desk, picks up the phone, starts making calls, building alliances, shoring up defenses, preparing for war. Because war is coming, it always is. But this time she's ready. This time she's not the victim. She's the storm, and storms don't ask permission. They just destroy everything in their path. The rain lashes harder against the windows. Inside the penthouse, Celine works through the night, planning, calculating, surviving, the way she always has, the way she always will, until the day someone finally stops her. But that day isn't today, and it won't be tomorrow. And that's enough. For now. That's enough.